In the Ardennes Forest of Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps, one of the classic racing circuits on the F1 calendar, as we bring you to round number 11 of the XRL Racing League F4 Division. 100% distance for these guys tonight. A rare race where they get to experience the full heavy fuel tanks. 44 laps of a circuit which is iconic in many ways. You've got the fast
as we bring you to round number 11 of the XRL Racing League F4 Division. 100% distance for these guys tonight. A rare race where they get to experience the full heavy fuel tanks. 44 laps of a circuit which is iconic in many ways. Covering number 11 of the XRL Racing League F4 Division.
I'm Pete Marcroft, and joining me in the box as usual is Bobbits. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Swish. Well, hopefully this is going to be a classic race as it was in the F1 Division in GP2 last night, so I'm hoping these guys can put on a show for us all today.
Yeah, definitely. The guys last night were involved, of course, in a wet Grand Prix. And before we came to track here, we've actually seen that the weather looks like it's possibly going to be 38% chance of rain for the race, but it's going to be 0% in the qualifying. So do you go with the high downforce setup to give you a better chance in the rain, or do you go full out, all out attack, low downforce, and try to cope with the wet conditions should they arrive?
Well, in my own personal opinion, I would just go for the low downforce. I mean, my setup was going to be decent for the wet condition. I mean, Estevo himself last night in GP2 went to the high downforce, which put him under threat coming towards the latter stages. But you know, thankfully, in his case, he hung on due to some incidents. But yeah, it's one of those. It's really your own opinion as to what you feel comfortable with.
Well, in the meantime, I'll suck in the moment. Connor Kay is the first one at the head of the snake for Lotus. As I go into the Old Rouge corner, up the floor of the high-speed chicane, takes that absolutely beautifully, gets nowhere near the apexes there in terms of going off the circuit. DRS open down the Camel Straight, and we come towards the fabulous Lacoon corner. We saw a lot of overtaking here in the F1 and GP2 divisions, so maybe we'll see more of that in the F4. GP3 tonight, by the way, is not being streamed, unfortunately. Pip Alonso was meant to be bringing that, courtesy of his debut stream. Unfortunately, he's working late, so he's not able to do it this week. But fingers crossed, in 2 weeks' time at Monza, we will see him covering the GP3. On the stream, meanwhile, SpinnyLad56 says hello. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on the stream. As I head into Pouon, Connor Kay getting a nice tight line. He's on the medium tyres. Now, with these tyres and the high speeds here, what would you expect? Like a low 46 maybe for this division? Or would you still be expecting the 45s?
I would expect, well, I think especially Ryan, I would expect him to get into the 45s. It will be close, but yeah, I think in terms of an overall lap time, if the guys are on these option tyres, such as Connor Kay, I'm going to expect, I would say, a very low 46 for pole position.
Well, right on board with Connor Kay, head towards Blanchimont, one of the fastest and most fearsome corners on the circuit, goes totally out to the edge there, kisses the curb, no problem whatsoever at all. Into the bus stop chicane, gets on the brakes nice and early, clips the inside apex nicely, but gets a little bit of tail slip due to the tight to midpoint of the corner. Now we're into the second of the DRS zones at the end of the lap, and a 146.8, so low 46 as I expected so far, but Tucker Harley, he's out in the Red Bull on the prime tyres. We actually have a full grid here tonight, viewers, for the first time in quite some time. There's some aggressive recruiting to bring a lot of new drivers here, so we're going to see quite some banzai action to the first corner, I'd expect. Tucker Harley, meanwhile, going into the tight Pouon corner, kind of misses the middle apex there. Doesn't go as wide as would have expected, but gets decent pace out of it and into campers. Let's listen to the engine. You can really see him throttling there, really pressing that throttle up and down, trying desperately to avoid getting a lot of wheel spin and spinning the car. As they head into Stavelot, comes very close to the outside AstroTurf, but avoids going wide into the gravel through Curve Ball for Ray. Good lap so far from Tucker Harley.
Yeah, some people who are watching the stream might notice a couple of these gamer tags. Actually, we do have a few people from F5 covering tonight, which one of them is Tucker 104 Harley is, as well as Crazy Fish 1234, just so people are aware.
That's fair enough. And Tucker goes into the chicane at the bus stop and gets a nice entry. Actually, it's a good run there, actually. Overtakes the corner. Gets a bit too much understeer and has to get out of the turn. Ends up costing quite a lot of time. 149.2. He was on for much better than that, but kind of blew it at the final corner. A shame. Meanwhile, Sir Clarkford's had a terrible first lap. At 159.8. in the Lotus, but he's on the prime tyres, so he's out for a second run. Whilst Sir Clarford takes on Bruxelles, and then we're going to go into the corner. We're calling Rivage. We're not calling it Dave tonight. Main reason being that Bruxelles and Rivage are often referred to as the same corner, so we thought, why not? We'll name Rivage the corner after Bruxelles. Into Pouhon as the Mercedes get totally out of the way. Sir Clarford there gets onto the outside curves. Once again, we've got yellow flags on the circuit. Seen that a couple of times so far. A few drivers seem to be going slow in the middle sector, and that's slowing things up into campers. Gets a decent ride there, comes the inside curves, rides them beautifully, comes into Stavelot. Sir Clarford gets wide on the entry, but then uses the straighter line to power out into curve Paul Ferret. Kind of like the reverse strategy, but so far it's holding up for him.
Yeah, the reason for those yellow flags was Jordan, who's actually the current pole sitter on a 46.6. It was just, there were 3 cars right behind him, he just let them through, and well, it was good driving for him, and just getting well out of the way just for him. But I'm currently on board with Ryan, who's just come through the bus stop. He's taken that beautifully. This is going to be pole position, and it's a 46.5, takes by 10th.
Meanwhile, Sir Clarford's on a much better lap than his previous one, but still nothing special on the prime tyres. A 1:14.89, good enough for 8th place. Yeah, I don't think he'll be expected to start the race from there. He'll surely want to gain a few tenths on that. Meanwhile, Jordan Kay on a 1:40.66 is second. He's on a very slow lap on an in, and we've seen Ryan just go pole position for now. Now, the Pied Piper, he's just getting ready to start a lap on the wood. He's just going through Blanchimont. So we'll ride on board here and enjoy his lap. Just something to talk about in the meantime, though, viewers. Some interesting news has come out about real life F1, courtesy of Autosport. Apparently, in a move that's kind of mirroring what happened with the mass damper in 2006 and also the blown diffusers from 2012, all of a sudden, the FIA wants to suddenly ban suspension that's locked together. It's called the Frisk or something, which is front and rear interlocking suspension. Apparently, they want to ban it from Hockenheim, which will probably affect 75% of the grid. How much of a farce is that?
Well, you couldn't have done it better than what I could have. I mean, what is the point of changing something halfway through a season? If you're going to do it from the start of a brand new season, is my opinion. But then again, I'm not part of the FIA.
Well, it's like in 1993 when they wanted to ban all kind of driver aids, and apparently it was so bad that the only team that would have actually been able to race at the race, had it gone through, was Coloni, because they were the only team that didn't have anything active on their car. Not wisely, they decided to postpone it until 1994. So, you know, they've got a track record, the FIA, of trying to tamper halfway through a season. Just leave it alone.
It's funny, especially how they can easily quite get on your nerves. But you know, I can understand it.
Get on my nerves. Get on everybody's bloody nerves, it would seem. Pied Piper 27 got a good line out of Pouhon as we go to campus here, getting back to the circuit action. Gets a nice line at the start of the corner and clips the outside apex quite well as they head into the very fast flowing Stavelot and Paul Ferret combo at the end of sector 2. Well, that time looks okay for the Pied Piper. I wouldn't say it's going to be threatening pole position, but hopefully he'll be aiming for around about 4th or 5th position so far. Going on the inside, heading towards Blanchimont. Great opportunities. F1 Speed, strangely, sent me a message mid-race. I'll have to check this out and find out what he wants to say in a moment. He's sent up for Xbox Live. But as we're going to the bus stop chicane, Pied Piper, on his only lap so far, goes a bit wide on the entry of the first part and has compromised his exit. Pace still looks okay, though. Let's ride on board for the end of the lap. A 1:46.7 on wrong 4th position, but not too far off the top pole times at all.
Well, just looking at the top of the grid at the moment, the top 6 are covered by 0.4 of a second. So this is going to be a close one. We've got Ryan currently on pole, but the two Mercs, the Williams of Pied Piper, Connor, and Flame Dragon, can all quite easily go quicker.
Oh, so F1 Speed was merely saying hi. Well, hi, get back on track and enjoy your race, you idiot. Flame Dragon 22, meanwhile, in the Red Bull. He's actually on a new lap now, going through Eau Rouge. Took an attacking line there, and he's getting quite shaky as he goes out the edge and over Radion. Definitely finding a little wheel slip in his car. As they go down the Camel Straight, DRS flat wide open, into Lake Coombe. Let's listen to, oh, he's got very wide there, big lock up, managed to catch it. Big slide overs, and I don't know if half of this is lag, or if he's literally driving like it's on the ragged edge. This is almost like watching someone drive the endurance cars in Grid Autosport than the F1 cars. Meanwhile, on the street, Spinny56 got up an interesting point. He's saying, do you think that if Kimi Raikkonen will be paid to leave Ferrari for 2014, like they did in 2009, if that does happen, will Bianchi replace him? I can't see Ferrari paying him out because it's costing too much money, and I can't see him wanting to take that kind of risk again. Also, Marco Mattiacci has actually said that both Alonso and Raikkonen are actually his ideal pairing, but then again, this is the man who had no experience in F1 before he was plucked from obscurity in the United States to come and replace Stefano Domenicali. On Klaus, meanwhile, he thinks that the Raikkonen will definitely be gone at the end of the season, but he thinks it's going to be Button to Williams and Hulkenberg to Ferrari. Now that's an interesting theory because that's one of the few comments I've heard about Button. He keeps saying he's not too concerned about his future, but I get the feeling that the end of the road at McLaren might have possibly come for Jenson Button, despite the Honda engines next season and his popularity in Japan.
No, in my own opinion, I think Button will stay for one more season at McLaren, and then I think it'll be his time to go.
Well, I mean, he's definitely got...
Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, he's definitely proved he's got the pace. He showed that in Silverstone when, yeah, he came on fourth rather than third, but he still fought off the likes of Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel. He was hustling in the back of Daniel Ricciardo. So he's shown that he's definitely got the pace, the old dog, and he also showed it in Australia. So he's definitely a driver who's got a lot of pace. Kevin Magnussen, he's done well for a rookie season, and the team know they can't hand the baton over to him just yet. It's a question of who'd replace Button. Now, one of the rumours I've heard around is that apparently Nico Hulkenberg has been in contact with Eric Boullier saying he wants to join the team. Now, if there's any driver I think would be a great replacement for Jenson Button in terms of future prospects, Hulkenberg would be my bet.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely. I mean, Hulkenberg has shown the past few seasons, he hasn't been given... he's been given a car that he really needs to work with, in the likes of the Sauber and the Force India, but he's getting top performances out of it, and he's getting the results that, teams that, like Ferrari or McLaren or even Mercedes, will be looking at, and, they think that he's a really quick driver, and could even replace somebody, such as Raikkonen at Ferrari, which would be my bet.
Yeah, it's a good bet to put forward. Now, BHA Capoeira, meanwhile, he's in 8th position at the moment. Let's see if he can improve. So the 47.5 is his best. Improves to the 47.2, but it doesn't really put him up the order. He's still in 7th place. Meanwhile, Svidio thinks that Grosjean would be at McLaren. Now, that's actually a good bet in many ways, purely because of Eric Boullier. Eric Boullier and also Romain Grosjean have a great relationship. Now, Romain Grosjean's shown himself to be a much improved driver over the last 2 seasons. Everyone remembers his horror 2012, where it was quite frankly a risk to everyone on the circuit, but this year and also last year in Lotus, he's been a lot more consistent, keeping himself out of trouble and generally rebuilding his reputation. So it might be the right time for him to go to somewhere like McLaren while they're still recovering. But then again, some of us might see it as a risky move. It's a question of what he thinks. Also, again, going back to Jenson Button, I do feel that if he gets out of McLaren, who knows, Ferrari might take him on for one season potentially to partner Alonso, and only them two would get on well as a partnership, both being world champions. But I also think that more than likely you'd see him probably go to somewhere like Force India for one final swan song season.
Yeah, it's quite likely, yeah. But going back to Romain Grosjean, though, I do think, another reason is he's actually matured since, 2012, where he had all of his accidents. Unlike if you go to the likes, talk about the likes of Pastor Maldonado. Unfortunately, I know you don't like to talk about him, but, he's one person.
Well, there's not much to say about him, really. Pastor Maldonado is like, to be fair, this season, Pastor Maldonado's probably driving his best season. He's actually kept himself out of trouble. He's had a car which has been pretty troublesome, and he's not yet got on top of it, and his teammate has beaten him. But the key thing is that, when last season he was moaning about his team being sabotaged and he's constantly not getting rewarded for his efforts, this season he's kept his head down. I think the burn that he got at the end of the Williams career has kind of settled him in a better position, but many people do see him as a glorified pay driver, and he really needs to rag something out of that Lotus in the final part of the season if his career isn't going to come to an premature end.
Well, just going back to the qualifying, actually, Jordan has sneaked pole from Ryan by just over 200ths.
In terms of pace differential, Sick Harry has only just gone for another lap. He's done a 1:57 as his fastest lap. That was pretty much where we were at for the wet times in the GP2 division. So he's definitely off the pace. As Cassim, meanwhile, not seen much of him for a while. 4:46.7, currently enough for P5, but he's out on another options run as we head down through our roads and rally on into the Camel Straight. DRS flat wide open. He's used most of his curves already. Evidently, he's trying to get that extra push now. Top speed around 205, probably about 4 or 5 miles per hour, a bit too slow there. And that could compromise him at the end of the race when the fuel is burned off. and the tyres are at the worst condition. And also, don't forget, viewers, we do have the potential that it's going to be 38% chance of rain in the race. So anything's possible in terms of strategy. Will we start behind the wets? Will we have wets in the middle? Who knows? Well, we're in the final run speeds, guys. We've just got the warning. The session's going to end after the lap times have begun. So Cat is going to make this count as he heads into Pouon. Oh, he's made a big mistake. Goes over the outside. Very lucky not to get sparked to the barrier there. And he's got to be careful you don't do that in the race, or that's going to definitely be a penalty over time.
I'm just on board with the Pied Piper. He's on a fantastic lap. He goes pole on a 46.5, beats Conan by 200.
In the meantime, on the stream, Rhythms and Music says Spa is awesome, I love it. Well, it's a fantastic circuit, and I can't see many drivers disagreeing with that. If you go for drivers who love circuits, and you said name your favourite circuit on the calendar, I think probably about 80% of drivers in the current F1 grid would say Spa.
Flame Dragon's now gone pole with a 46.1. I did say a low 46 would be pole, and Flame Dragon's just proven that to me right now.
As Cass is just going through the bus stop chicane, can he respond to this threat? He's got a 46.7 as his best. DRS flap open. At 146.6, he makes no improvement. P5. Sick Harry, meanwhile, is the last car on track. He's not even going to make 2 minutes. Wow. So the Flame Dragon, he has pole position on a 146.1. 4/10 clear of the Pied Piper. Then we've got Jordan, who's barely 1/100th of a second behind on a 46.5. And then a further 100th of a second is Ryan. So we've got 3 drivers covered by maybe 3 100ths of a second. That's insanely close. And then behind them in 5th place, we've got Cassin on a 46.6. We've got Connor Kay in 6th place on a 46.6 as well. And then a 46.8 from F1 Speed. So we're talking less than a second between the top 7. That's really, really close. And a great opportunity for some really close banzai driving on the track itself.
Well, I must say that was a fantastic lap from Flame Dragon. He proved last week that he had the pace to mix with the top guys, especially in qualifying. He's done it again, and he's improved to a good pole position. What is his second race? But the big question for him is, can his connection hold, and does he have the pace in this 100% race distance?
We've seen that before, haven't we, with the Irish drivers, like Mr. Ice Cold Andy. They've got loads of pace and are able to get pole positions, really whack the car, and then they just drop off the cliff and retire due to connections. Must be something about the Emerald Isle that makes things very difficult for them.
Perhaps they just hate us. Perhaps it's as simple as that.
Smitty, let's go with a very interesting question. Who do we think will be in Haas Formula, and what engine do we think they'll use? Well, apparently Haas has just put an advertisement for Ferrari on their Indian NASCARs. So I get the feeling that they're going to be using the Ferrari engines. There was a rumour that they might have been trying to tap up Ford because Cosworth were making a turbo engine initially and then pulled out and try and make it an all-American engine. But it looks like that's fallen by the wayside. Drivers-wise, I get the feeling that Alex Rossi, the caterer and test driver, will be one of their pick. And then they also wanted a kind of seasoned driver. Now, that's where you might get someone maybe at the back of the field who's got a few seasons under his belt coming back. You know, I kind of like Kumu Kobayashi did with the caterer. You might see someone like maybe Sebastian Buemi or Jaime Aljusuari, someone like that come back for a season that way.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of it myself, actually. I mean, you could even see the likes of some, perhaps even, I don't know, actually. I can't really think of someone who could go into that team. You know, it's possible we could see 2 completely new drivers, perhaps from the GP2 division, moving off in the likes of maybe Julian. Is it Julian Palmer? I can't remember his name. He's currently leading the GP2 division. You know, we could see the likes of him moving up into F1, or maybe even Sam Bird, perhaps. You know, he could pick 2 rookies to come up, but although I do expect them to perhaps pick at least one driver at least that has experience in the F1.
Well, that's what Haas has gone on the record and said. But then again, Haas, many drivers, when teams have said what they want, and then when it comes to the crunch, they've not been able to actually bring it to the fold. Let's also not forget we've got the kind of new Caterham, which is being advised by Colin Collis, and also Colin Collis has got his Forza Rossa. Now, no one knows when they're coming into the sport. Allegedly, they're meant to be coming in next season, but there's been no confirmation of that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But let's focus now on the track itself. We've got 16 runners and riders, well 14 if you discount me and Bobbert. It's going to be 44 laps and we've got 38% chance of rain. So anything's possible in terms of what will happen. The only way we're going to know is by getting out to the circuit. In terms of performance though, from what you've seen in qualifying, go on Bobbert, put your neck on the line. Who do you think is going to be the one who wins this race?
Oh God, you can pick any one of those top 7. You can pick any one of those top 7 or 8, I would say, for the win. But I'm going for a dark horse, and he was a dark horse last week, and I'm going to go for him this week. I'm going with Jordan.
Well, that's fair enough. Meantime, I'm going to probably go back the safer option of Connor Kay. But we did see a lot of close driving, and who knows, if the rain comes down hard, certain drivers could be better than the others. Let's get out of the paddock onto the circuit so we can bring you uninterrupted coverage live on twitch.tv, courtesy of GT Omega Racing and gamebot.co.uk. So it's Harold Hashford here. We are on the grid at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, home of some of the most classic races and some of the most iconic sweeps and curves. It's one of the old-fashioned circuits with low walls, lots of runoff and high speed and low downforce. And we've got 14 drivers who are going to bring you uninterrupted coverage, 44 laps. Can Sick Harry come from the back of the field, or are we going to see Connor Kay lead once those 5 lights go out? It's lights out, and away they go. We have a short run down to the source hairpin, but already Flame Dragon starts to be up in the air at the moment. And meanwhile, Connor Kay in the Williams. Oh, big wide driving there for Flame Dragon. We've got 3 cars have all come together. But amazingly, no one's got any damage. Running in P2. Well, Connor Kay's destroyed his car. Talk about commentators' curse. On the first lap, he's already out of the Grand Prix. We've got BHA Capoeira in second place. There's Flame Dragons all over the circuit. Meanwhile, in second place, we've got Williams being tapped up by BHA Capoeira, who's in the slipstream, deployed all his curse. Williams pulls out the slipstream with Flame Dragon. They're side by side down into Lane Coombe. Flame Dragon's on the outside, and meanwhile, as Cassie tries to respond to the Mercedes, but BHA Capoeira on the outside of Lane Coombe tries to take it through the middle. Oh, cuts the corner before Bruxelles and filters into third place.
Well, I must say that was a very messy first corner there. 2 side pod glitches, and it was the side pod glitches what made Connor Kay spin into the wall. I don't know who it was, but that's what's cost him this race, and unfortunately, he is gone.
Well, someone who's got a lot of pace who's a dark horse is F1 Speed. He's qualified on the prime tyres and is now in 4th place behind BHA Capoeira. As Flame Dragon's gone totally off at Pouon. He's gone miles off the circuit. He's down to 5th place. So we've got the Pied Piper in the lead. And then behind we've got BHA Capoeira. We've got F1 Speed in 3rd. And he's being chased down rapidly by Jordan in the Mercedes. So these 4 cars are getting very, very close. Connor, what happened in the first corner? Is it you destroyed your vehicle?
Ryan span in front of me, I went round the outside, as came back on the track, the assassin spun me and someone's hit me and I've destroyed my vehicle, so I don't know.
Well, sorry to go question, but Jordan's made a critical error at Stavelot, gone off the circuit. He was being fought by XRL Gravedigger for 8th place, but Gravedigger's gone off a Blanchimont, so he's been passed by the Lotus, and Jordan is now down in 7th place, Sir Clarkford behind him in 8th. And then in 6th place, we've got a bit of a cluster of cars, a Sick Harry, despite his slow qualifying, is now running his 6th place, and he's side by side with the Red Bull, heading into Lasso's hairpin, tries to go around the outside on the karting line for the tighter cutback. We saw Fernando Alonso do this to great effect at Brooklands at Silverstone last weekend, so a great opportunity as Sick Harry tries to do Navarre Webber around the outside of Eau Rouge. This will be incredibly brave. Can he make this stick without going off the circuit? Oh, he's gone all 4 times over the inside. He's going to have to get that position back to avoid the penalty. Tucker Harley will be the one who benefits from that.
Battle to the lead, Swiss BHA Captain Ware's on the outside of the Pied Piper in towards the queue. And he's gone
Flame Dragons does hit F1 Speed as well, but F1 Speed hangs on as Flame Dragon goes wide. Unbelievably close here, but you are correct. We've got BHA Capoeira and the Pied Piper both battling. BHA Capoeira in the lead. Pied Piper looking for a title line through Bruxelles before we head to the newly named Ravage. Great opportunity for Pied Piper. It's gone wide, almost into the wall. That's slowed him down, and F1 Speed will start to close him down all of a sudden.
Well, sorry to hear, Connor, about your incident. I mean, so did you say that you avoided the incident with Ryan, but you got side-podded by the Mercedes of Ascassin, was that correct?
It weren't a side pod, it was a spin. It was my rear right, hit his front left, and I've spun and went sideways and got it. So.
Well, sorry to cut across it, but Sick Harry is in 6th place, and we've got a huge cluster of cars behind them. We've got XRL Gravedigger in 7th place, being chased very quickly by Tucker Hartley. And then in 9th place, we've got Ascassin, who's all the way down. He's been a big loser, but coming off curve Paul Ferret, gets a beautiful line out there and easily swoops on past the Red Bull. So he moves on to 8th place. And we've got Tucker Hartley now in 9th, who's under big pressure from the sister McLaren, who tries to go around the outside of Blanchimont, but he goes all 4 tyres on the outside. The McLaren driver's going to have to give that up into bus stop to avoid a penalty, but he's not given the place. I mean, he's actually cut the corner, gone across the bus stop, hit Tucker Hartley, who's then over to get across the Clarkford's Lotus to avoid causing the accident. That's really poor driving from that McLaren. That was Crazy Fish really getting that too close to the inside. He's let Tucker Hartley back through, but I feel he's got to be very careful. If he carries on like that, he could be on the wrong side of the stewards.
So, cheers for your comments, Connor. Sorry about that, but hopefully, do you think you've got a better chance than Monza after our week break?
He's left the park as far as I can tell. But as Cassin now has got a great one on the back of the sister Sauber DRS Club Open. And easily passes the pair of them. Moving through the fall, we've got yet another cluster of cars. Pied Piper in second place, as the Flame Dragon's just kind of gone crazy and got stuck on the gravel, so he's going to be passed by the Mercedes into Bruxelles. Mercedes of Escarcin trying to get as close as he can. Meanwhile, behind him, we've got in the Sauber, XRL Gravedigger being under pressure now by the Sister Williams, which is the Sick Harry trying to go around the outside of Rivage into Pouon, and he makes that stick. Not a conventional place to overtake, but great job from Sick Harry there.
Jordan now is looking all over the back of F1 Speed for P3. Obviously, F1 Speed is running on the prime tyres, going for the alternative strategy, but Jordan on those option tyres has caught into the back of him through Stavilo, as F1 Speed's gone quite wide and nearly touches the gravel, but this gives Jordan a chance now up through the straight and down towards Blanchimont on the bus stop.
Well, they also don't forget, of course, F1 Speed qualified on his tyres, so he's obviously got some pace in hand here. He looks pretty handy around Spa. One of those drivers who wants to bring his game at certain circuits. But Jordan's got a tighter line through Blanchimont, looking to go around the outside of the bus stop chicane. He's going to try and cut across him. The both drivers make sure they don't hit each other. Great drive, very respectful. Jordan goes wide in the second part of the bus stop, but F1 Speed has to yield the place. He's got the DRS down towards La Source, flat eyed over from F1 Speed as he tries to go around the outside of the karting line. And at the same time, in the we've also got Jordan taking the tighter line through La Source hairpin, and now F1 Speed's got a great chance to use his curves. That's going to give him an opportunity after Eau Rouge over Radion down the Camel Straight.
Yeah, seeing Jordan being mincemeat here for F1 Speed. He's got the straight line speed, he's going to have the DRS and the curves and the...
There goes the curves from F1 Speed to already attacking, pretty much pulls alongside, and there goes the flat from DRS. Jordan knows he's not really got any way to defend this, and he's actually got to be careful because he might be getting chased by the sister Red Bull. Indeed, Flame Dragon's got the DRS, and he's also being chased quickly as well by Assassin. But look at this, great opportunity for Jordan trying to drive around the outside through Lake Coombe, and F1 Speed's got a tighter line to Bruxelles. This is going to be mighty close between these two. Jordan's trying to go around the outside line, up the tighter line for Rivage, and I think Jordan's going to get this move done here. Unbelievably close, fantastic driving for Jordan, and then Flame Dragon sees F1 Speed's in trouble, tries to go around the outside of Pouon, and Escarcin on the inside. My God, how close was that? Flame Dragon goes off the circuit, and unbelievably, Escarcin goes ahead of F1 Speed. Magnificent.
Wow.
F1 Speed's in real trouble now. He's falling down the wayside. Flame Dragon nearly attacked and went around the outside. And we've got Escarcin now running in P4. And the second Mercedes of Jordan in P3. So great for their Constructors title. Meanwhile, BHA Capoeira off screen was passed by the Pied Piper. So these two are stuck in a bit of a battle here. And it's going to be a bit of a classic ding-dong round Spa-Francorchamps, we can be assured. Got a little bit of cloud cover on the horizon now. When's that going to get thick enough for rain?
I'm probably going to say about halfway through the race, which that's going to be my prediction. I'm going to say lap 25.
Well, I'm sure the other drivers are going to be paying attention to their engineers, of course, trying to get as much information as possible. Now, BHA Capoeira had the DRS flap over down towards La Source hairpin, and now he's using the curves of the hairpin itself down the pit exit, which is going to give a good run going through Eau Rouge. But you can see that Pied Piper have really good traction coming out of La Source, so that's giving him a great opportunity. But going up the hill, BHA Capoeira has deployed all his curves to push that McLaren on, and now he's going to get the flap over down the Camel Straight. Oh, Pied Piper moved once and then back to the middle. He's got to stay where he is. BHA Capoeira on the inside line. Can he outbrake into the Lake Coombe complex? No, he can't. Pied Piper magnificently defending there. What driving?
One person who's lost out big style from that first lap incident was Ryan. He's down in 11th place and back at Miller's 4 cars very close together, which includes who was that?
You've got Flame Dragon and F1 Speed in 4th, 5th and 6th, and then behind them is 7th, catching closer as well. Again, it's Sick Harry. He was nowhere in qualifying, but in racing trim, he seems much more planted.
Yeah, he did this last week at Hungary, actually, and originally he was given the win for Hungary after starting, I think it was 8th place, I think he started last week. So, Sick Harry, he's definitely not got the qualifiers, but his race pace is magnificent.
Well, F1 Speed is attacking the back of the Red Bull of Flying Dragon, flying being the literal word so far, as he's gone up in the air a few times, going into stab low, and you can see the Red Bull seems to have much more planted grip at this moment in time. Now, moving back through the field, you talked about that close battle of cars. You've got Crazy Fish in 8th place, and you've got Ryan down in 9th. A bit of a disappointment from Ryan. Then we've got Tucker Hartley in 10th on a 1:54.2 as this fastest lap, being chased by Gravedigger, who's outside the points. Unbelievably close. We've still got 13 runners and riders here. We've only lost Connor Kay. And meanwhile, Gravedigger looks at the inside of Blanchimont. He's going to be a bit too close to the outside. I don't think he's going to get a good line for the bus stop. And he's going to have to filter in for now. Well, the Red Bull makes a mistake. Goes straight on the bus stop. And then Gravedigger's in the pits. Gravedigger's already gone in. Been helped along in a way by the Lotus. So that's a really early stop.
Yeah, considerably early. I mean, normally you'd be expecting people to come maybe at the end of lap 9, but at the end of lap 5, perhaps you can get a big undercut and just get some clean air from these guys. But that's a little bit of a bizarre one.
F1 Speed coming up the top of all rows as Flying Dragon goes very wide at the top of Radion. Almost goes off at the exit of the second pit lane, and then he gets the DRS flow. F1 Speed pulls out of the slipstream on the left hand side into Lake Coombe. He should have the natural filtering line to pass, but he's got to get the car stopped to be able to take the move, and he gets ahead beautifully. Good driving there from F1 Speed. As we've got a bit of a spread at the top of the order now. We've got Jordan who's down in 4th place. I think he made an error because this Cassin is now in P3 doing a good job. 2nd place is BHA Cap and Wader, and Pied Piper has now actually pulled a gap of about 2 seconds on the McLaren. We've got John Digweed way on his own at the moment at the back of the field in the Ferrari, totally nowhere. And then we've got Gravedigger in 12th place trying to catch him after his early pit stop. Tucker Hartley in 11th place, and a bit of a scrap between Sir Clarkford in 10th. In 9th place we've got Crazy Fish, and then in 8th place we've got the Ferrari of Ryan. But up ahead of them we've got another battle on circuit as Flame Dragon is now attacking the Williams. So he's fallen down as well because Sick Harry is now in 6th place.
Yeah, these guys have to be wary of Ryan. Ryan's now got out of he's got ahead of those guys just behind him now. He's taken him 2 laps since he's caught up to the back of them. He made a great move actually on the McLaren of Crazy Fish through Eau Rouge and Radion. And now I expect him to catch up to these guys within the next few laps. He's by far and away, well, not by far and away, but he is the quickest man on the circuit.
It just goes to show what happens. It's all about track position, isn't it? Because he's totally found himself caught out here. Meanwhile, over here we've got another bit of a scrap going on. I'm not sure who that is. We've actually got F1 Speed again with Jordan. F1 Speed fancies to move on the inside of last source using DRS. They brush tyres, and now it doesn't come out ahead, but F1 Speed's going to have a great opportunity coming out of Eau Rouge, you'd expect here. I'm not sure where Jordan got past him, but unbelievable, he's back down to P5. F1 Speed getting into the slipstream of the Mercedes. He's not used any of his curves until the top of Radion. He's already side by side as soon as we hit the DRS zone on the Camel straight. And you get a feeling that Mercedes is going to have to give it up, but Jordan gets in the slipstream trying to fight back, but he's just not close enough. Meanwhile, up ahead, as F1 Speed goes wide at Lake Coombe, that's going to put him under pressure, but as Cassin has now caught up to BHA Cap and Waiter and the McLaren, we've got a battle for second.
Yeah, Cassin actually got ahead of BHA Captain Ware on the Camel Straight, but he outbroke himself in towards Lake Coombe, so he had to hand the position back. But you're quite right. He's all over the back of Captain Ware, so he was clearly he's struggling now. He's fallen off the back of Pied Piper, who's just streaking away.
Yeah, Pied Piper's doing everything he can to try and get away from these guys and get that victory. But again, we don't know what's going to happen with the rain. We saw in 2012 season when a confused Emu had it easily won in the rain, then dropped it through campus on the final lap, and F1 Nice stole it. It's one of those things like we saw Damon Hill do it at Monza in 1996. We saw Mika Hakkinen do it at Monza as well in 1999. It's one of those tracks where you can easily make mistakes, so you've got to make sure you keep it on. But as Cassin's getting closer to Curtin Paul for right, as Edgeworth Blanchimont definitely do what he can to close that gap. And you can see how much the speed difference is. It seems that the straight line speed is lacking from that McLaren. But as Cassin goes all 4 wheels off at Blanchimont, and if he's doing that too often, that will be seen as gaining an advantage. Already, BHA got away. There's a very late dive for the pits. That was similar to when Alexander Wirtz did that across Adrian Sutil all the way back in 2008. Quite dangerous when he gets away with it.
Yeah, there's another car in the pits actually as well. I have a feeling that may be Jordan, but no, it's not Jordan, but there is somebody else in the pits with him.
Yeah, Jordan's in 4th place there at the back of F1 Speed at the moment. A few cars have died for the box. On the street, Connor Kay is saying as Carson better not win now after that joke of a spin. Well, again, we don't know quite what happened. All we know is that he's in the position. But Jordan's now going to be siding at the back of F1 Speed. DRS flat wide open. He's got loads of his curse left. He gets on the limiter, 203, but I think he's just too far behind. And he has to get on the brakes. F1 Speed lives to fight for another day. And F1 Speed, let's not forget, is on the prime tyres, whereas everyone else started on the options. So he's going to have the prime strategy, being able to go longer. And who knows, maybe if the rain falls at the right period, he might save a pit stop. Meanwhile, behind them, we've got Ryan, who's now in P5. He's really catapulted up the order. He's already passed Sick Harry and catching very quickly. You're quite correct. He is fast, and he's making use of that fresh rubber.
Yeah, I told you. I still see Ryan as having a potential win here, actually. I mean, I know he's still a fair bit behind the leaders who've already pitted, stuck with Captain Wade, and he's around about 10 seconds, I'd say, behind the Pied Piper, but I would not discount him at all.
Well, heading out curve at Port Ferret, Jordan Kay gets a decent run, but he's lost a lot of time to F4 Speed in this middle sector. Evidently that Mercedes not quite as grippy as the Sauber. That's unusual because most drivers don't like the Sauber. F4 is the one division that didn't change the car, and F1 Speed's keeping his faith in it as the leaders have dived into the pits. So Pied Piper's now dived in, but of course F1 Speed has stayed out, and so has Jordan, and I also believe as Cassin has as well. So I think as Cassin now has the lead, but it's a question of how long you can keep it for. Going for a lost source, Jordan Kay is going to have a great chance to attack the back of F1 Speed. Out in first place, it is indeed as Cassin for now, but we are in the pit stop window, so it's a question of how long your tyres can go. Going for all roads, F1 Speed's got a good gap actually to Jordan Kay, so I won't be surprised if Jordan isn't able to catch up.
Jordan saved quite a lot of his curves, though. I think he might be saving that through out of Stavelot, up towards Blanchimont. Yeah, he's saving more than half his curves there. Just trying to stick with F1 Speed. He's clearly now got the quicker car with the prime tyres. Definitely the tyre to be on, obviously on your first. Oh, he's gone very wide.
Maybe not. Jordan Kay sees an opportunity here, heading into Bruxelles, and you can see that F1 Speed has made a bit of a hash of that, but he's managed to get back on the line. But as we head into the newly crowned Rivage corner, you can see Jordan Kay's now in the dirty area. If he can stay close enough, he might be able to attack. Now, the problem Jordan Kay's got is he's not too far behind his teammate as Cassin, and he can't afford to get stuck behind him and stacked up in the pits. So that's the problem that Jordan Kay has. He's stuck behind F1 Speed, but he's not far enough behind his teammate to be able to box at the same time.
Yeah, if I was one of the Mercedes drivers, I would have pitted on the last lap, actually, simply because obviously they could be double stacked on this lap, and it means one of them's going to lose out by staying out an extra lap.
This is one of the things that you have to be, as a team, you have to be discussing with your teammate. Make sure you got the cars correct. They say you should do what you can to beat your teammate, but at the same time, you have to work together to develop the car and also develop the strategy. Jordan Kay goes through Blanchimont, attacking F1 Speed, who goes a little wide there, but kicks up the dust. Now, as they head to the bus stop chicane, are we going to see as Carson dive for the pits? No, as Carson stayed out, so Jordan Kay wisely dives in while he's got the opportunity. So he's going to ensure there's no double stacking at the Mercedes garage. So we've got Ryan, who's now gone through to P4. Back in P5, we've got the Pied Piper after his pit stop, and he's already going to pass Jordan as Sick Harry goes for his stop as well. So we've got Jordan Kay now in the box, and the Pied Piper on fresh option tyres, interestingly. He's not gone to the prime straight away. I wonder if he's going to try and go for an attacking strategy of using the options as much as possible and then hoping to switch to the wet tyres.
Unless he's got a call by the engineers to say that rain is on its way within 15 minutes, I don't see the point of going into the option tyres. The prime tyres can last a good half a dozen laps longer, and I think that would have been the better way to go. But then again, I don't know when the rain is going to come, if it does come. But the clouds seem to be thickening, and it does seem to be getting a little bit darker, but not quite.
It's
there
only
just
around
yet.
the Bruxelles area, though. If you look there, around Bruxelles and Pouhon, it's getting a bit wispy. But if you look back towards La Source and the pit complex, it's pretty clear. So it doesn't look like the rain's any chance of catching straight away. BHA Cap and Wader, he's into the box, and he's now. Oh, we've lost connection to my commentator. Well, that's something I never thought I'd say on air, so I've just lost my commentator in the box. Hopefully I'll be able to get him back in here and find out what's happening. I get the feeling that his internet connection's just gone down. So you've got Tucker Harley in 8th place at the moment, and then down in P9 we've got XRL Gravedigger, and then we've got Sick Harry who's gone into the box for prime tires. He's in P10 getting the points. We've got Crazy Fish meanwhile and Sister McLaren who's under big pressure from the Lotus of Sir Clarkford. I don't think Clarkford's been into the box though, because I'm pretty sure he started on the prime tyres. Now I've only got a little bit of a break in the action. I'm just going to try and get my co-commentator back in here, so I do apologise for showing you nothing but my friends list, but that's how it is. You're going to have to put up with it. As Clarkford goes off as Kermit Paul Ferrari gets into the gravel, but the Void's going into the wall and the Void's losing the car. John Digweed is looking to get the back of it, trying to catch up. But F1 Speed is now your net race leader after we've seen as Carson go into the box. But the Pied Piper is not that far behind. He's around like 5 seconds. So the Pied Piper definitely back in the pound seats. But again, he's not gone onto the prime tyres. So he's going to be under pressure. While as Carson is going to be under big pressure now in the Mercedes. Because in 5th place we've got Flame Dragon trying to attack through Eau Rouge. And he goes into Flame Dragon, just about hangs it on. Uses the curse. He's going to have DRS down the Camel Straight. Welcome back, Boas. Glad to have you. DRS low and another Camel Straight down towards Lake Coombe. And Flame Dragon, is he going to bar a slipstream and go for a late bandside braking move? He's on the brakes late. Bow Dragon's pushed the inside. Flame Dragon's got the outside line for Lake Coombe. And we've got the great fight back there from Carson, but he's just out of touch. And as Carson loses out into P5. So, Boas, how are you?
Annoyed by that simple disconnection, and I know the reason why, so I'm going to have a little rant afterwards.
Oh dear. Well, Tucker Harley, meanwhile, he's in 7th place and being pressured by Ryan. Ryan's back down in 8th place. I wonder if he's boxed again. I can't see any reason why he'd be down in 8th when he was running 5th.
Yeah, I think I would presume that he has made a pit stop. It depends, has he gone to some prime or another set of options?
He's on prime, so...
Yeah, he started on options, so that he's had a pit stop.
Okay, well Ryan now is looking at the back of the Red Bull, and again, makes a mistake, goes wide to Stavolo, and Ryan goes, well, thank you very much, didn't forgive me that easy, so that's him through. And meanwhile we've also got the Sister Salva going through as well, and the Sister Williams. So we've got Gravedigger in 8th place, then down in 9th we have Sick Harry, who's fighting his way back up the field. Ran as high as P6 originally, Harry, so he's definitely got a bit of pace in that car. Ryan meanwhile has got some clean air in 7th place, to be appreciative of that, as Jordan's made a mistake. He's missed the bus stop chicane and lost a huge chunk of time. And as Carson now is looking at the back of Flame Dragon, who's looking at the back of BHA Captain Waiter. A 3-way scrap for 3rd place has begun. And as Carson is using his curse, going off last horse hairpin, I think he fancies doing a move on the inside of Eau Rouge. Is he going to get ahead? Yes, he is. Beautiful car placement. The question is, has Flame Dragon got DRS off the back of the BHA Captain Waiter's McLaren? He has. So both the Mercedes and the Red Bull have DRS. BHA Captain Waiter under pressure as Cassie goes around the outside into Lake Coombe. And BHA Captain Waiter tries to drive back around the outside and makes it stick. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Well, that's how you defend your position. That was textbook.
I can say at this point, Swish, I am going to be starting my track extending duties, so I'm going to leave it in the capable hands of you for this moment in time. Until I hit
well, might as well not invited you back then. Meantime, as Carson going through Puon, trying to get close to the back of BHA Captain Waiter. Got a decent run through there, carrying quite a lot of speed into Campus. Let's listen to the... Oh, he gets hit on the back. Flame Dragon obviously more confident on the brakes than as Carson, who's really just getting those tyres warmed up. He's only just gone on to them, let's not forget. Going through Stavolo, and you can see that as Carson really under pressure. Jordan, meanwhile, he's on his own, but a bit of clean air might do him some good. Get some cold laps under there now. Get the tyres up to temperature and get things back in order. For those of you watching on the stream, good evening to you. Coverage, of course, brought to you tonight by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk, live and exclusive to Twitch.tv. If you've got any messages, you can get them in the chat box. That is open here. Or also, you can send them via Xbox Live to either myself, Game Attack Swishbone, or you can send them to my co-commentator, XRL Bobbert. Now, up ahead, meanwhile, as Carson's got a good run off the bus stop chicane, going into last source, but he banks out of the move on BHA Captain Waiter, who locks up quite badly and goes wide. So as Carson now senses an opportunity, and he's not deployed his curse to get track position before Eau Rouge. That surprises me. Let's ride on board. Up in the apex is nice and beautifully there, and as Carson gets a very, very good run, lots of traction through Eau Rouge, and now Mercedes gets on the curse, he's going to have the DRS, and that looks like it's going to be a case of job done and dusted. Now the question is, Flame Dragon's got the DRS open, and he's attacking the back, he's already ahead of Waiter. Is he going to get the car brakes and stopped in time? Yes he is, but Captain Waiter has fought back around the outside of Lane Coupe, and big mistake from Flame Dragon, he goes off the circuit, and BHA Captain Waiter is back into third place. He hangs on and survives, but the big winner from all of this is the Pied Piper, because while all these guys are battling and really fighting really hard, he's got a nice extended lead. He can cruise to the flag.
Well, I hope you haven't put the commentator's curse on him there, Swiss. You know, he's got about, I'd say, roughly maybe an 8-second lead, I'd say, to the guys behind.
It's all about managing the gap, isn't it? And at the end of the day, even if rain comes, you just got to keep the car on the aisle and keep it smooth. And the guys behind, like Flame Dragon, like BHA Captain Wader, and like as Carson, have all been driving very raggedly and pushing really hard. Now, whereas at the front, Pied Piper's been a little more smooth. Now, off curb and Paul Ferrari, Flame Dragon got a good run, and he's now into the slipstream of BHA Captain Wader with down towards Blanchimont, and he's going on the inside. He's going to have a go. We're going to try and see a lethal overtaking move at Blanchimont. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. Oh, it's forced BHA Captain Wader to go off the circuit, or off the line, and that's led him through. Great driving from Flame Dragon, and a mistake from Carson, as Carson has missed the bus-stop chicane, so that's going to open the fight right back up. Flame Dragon has great drive off bus-stop chicane, and he's all over the slipstream of Carson in the Mercedes as we head into La Source hairpin. He's not got DRS here, but he will have it off the top of Radion down the Keppel Straight.
What this is doing at the same time, actually, is letting the guys behind catch up, and there's a group of 3 cars, I think, gaining on this as well, so this could potentially be, maybe a 5 or 6 way scrap.
Kerr's being deployed by Flame Dragon off the top of Radion. He's already got right close to the back of that Mercedes, who defends very, very defensively to the inside, but the Flame Dragon gets his DRS flap open. He's ahead initially into the corner. Can he get the car stopped in time? Going into the second part of Leicu. Beautiful driving, absolutely magnificent, and he's now in second place. But as Carson is showing, he's absolutely no slouch, and he's going to be all over the back of that Red Bull anytime soon. And as you say, that little 3-car train you're talking about, yes, it's pretty much arrived. We're going to be in for a scrap and a half and a couple of laps, viewers.
Oh, this is fantastic. This is just reminding me of the GP2 race last night.
Going through Pua now, we saw that the Flame Dragon went off the circuit, had to get out the gas to get back on. That's allowed us Carson to close a little tighter to him. And as Carson saved half of his curves, so I get the feeling he's going to try and use that off-curve of Paul Ferrari to try and get close to him through Blanchimont and then have the DRS down towards La Source. Oh, he made a mistake, though, gone off the circuit a little bit, kissed the outside gravel, but got away with that, not lost any real speed. However, it has our BHA Captain Waiter to slowly sneak up, and behind him, meanwhile, we've got the Mercedes of Jordan catching closely, and also F1 Speed. So these guys are all catching up very quickly indeed.
F1 Speed will probably be on the option tyre now, so he's the guy who's going to be. He's got obviously the freshest tyres, he's got the quicker tyre on, and I'd expect him to make some overtakes quite soon.
BHA Captain Wader gets off the bus-stop chicane. He's not really close to the gap though. Oh, meanwhile, big lag moment there. Looked like Flame Dragon's car went off into the forest, and as Carson is now right behind him as we go towards Eau Rouge. So this is going to be game on between these two for second place. Going up through Eau Rouge, and you can see that the Flame Dragon's gone a little wide there, got ginger on the throttle, and at the same time as Carson had to get out of it to avoid hitting him. But there goes the flap, and there goes the curse as Carson pulls to the right-hand side, and he's going to easily be ahead into Leicu. He's going to account for the DRS and make sure he stops in time, and that's absolutely magnificent. Gets straight back ahead. These guys treating this like a touring car race. Each lap, slipstream pass, slipstream pass. BHA Captain Waiter though is under big pressure now as Jordan, F1 Speed and Co have slowly caught him up.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap developing now actually between third Flame Dragon and Captain Waiter. Captain Waiter's clearly not liking these new tyres, and he just doesn't seem to have the pace compared to the 2 guys in front. And as you said, he's coming to a threat from Jordan and F1 Speed.
Let's not forget the back of the chain, Ryan as well. Ryan's got himself back into this battle because he's right behind these guys. So we've got a 4-car scrap for 4th place, and then you've got the 2-car scrap for 3rd, which is ongoing as we speak. Flame Dragon's still attacking the back of his car as they headed to Stavolo, and it looks like he went a little wide there, but he's still stuck to the back as he goes from curve apart for 8. Flame Dragon kissing the outside curve as much as he dares, gets into the slipstream, and we've already seen him drive around the inside of Blodgemon. He's a bit too far behind to attack this time, I'm sure. Having said that, though, Scarson's made a mistake, put his wheels on the dust, going into the Buscott chicane. Who's going to get the car ahead and stops in time? Flame Dragon tries to ride around the outside, and Scarson takes the tighter line. He's going to get better traction off the corner. Behind them, look at how close that scrap is. BHA Captain Waiter in 4th, has got Jordan in 5th. Then he's F4 Speed, and we've got Ryan right behind him. All these 4 cars are right next to each other. As a mistake has happened for Jordan, so F4 Speed is side by side with the Mercedes and they go off for source, and he's already ahead going into Eau Rouge, and Ryan fancies an opportunistic take on the outside. Unbelievable driving! How did he make that? Oh no! He's here for speed and destroyed his vehicle! That's going to be a safety car! Both cars are out!
That was just an incident waiting to happen.
The move was fine on Jordan. He was ahead of Jordan, but he should have backed out on F1 Speed. Unbelievable, and amazingly, we don't have a safety car. I don't know how that's not been deployed for a double car crash.
I'll show you the safety car was put. There's the safety car.
I told you. I knew there was going to be a safety car because of that. That was definitely going to happen. And you can all get your comments in on the stream regarding that. In my opinion, it looked like that the move was absolutely fine on Jordan, a sensational pass, but he just kept his footing when he shouldn't. He spun F1 Speed in front of him, and then both of them went into the wall. I mean, the stewards will probably look at it further, but on a layman's view, that to me looks like it's going to be 100% the fault of Ryan there. Let's see if we get F1 Speed in for his comments.
I've already invited F1 Speed.
Well, let's go over to you immediately, F1 Speed. Look at you having a decent race, you have good pace, you were actually leading at one point on your reverse strategy, but then that incident at Eau Rouge looked like a case of a banzai move too far, really.
Pretty much, yeah, we'll go with that one. Just so unlucky.
I mean, you'd done well to get yourself back into the battle because all 4 of you were catching quickly to the likes of BHA Captain Waiter and as Carson ahead of you to actually get yourselves into some serious points. As we've got a huge tumble in the pits here, it's going to be a question of who's the bigger winners and losers. BHA Captain Waiter strangely goes onto the option tyres. Surprised at that, I thought he'd gone onto the primes. Meanwhile, on the street, Connor simply says, wow. That's all he has to say. I mean, obviously, we saw some great opportunistic driving from yourself there. Were you expecting yourself to might be fighting for the podium come the end of the race?
Yeah, I was going for the win then, because the strategy was working completely how I wanted it to go. The rain, everyone's waiting for it. No one's got a message yet saying it's coming, so everyone's just waiting for it. So it's looking good.
I mean, massive commiserations, but of course, one thing you've got now is theoretically a week off. Of course, I know you're working tomorrow night on the stream in the F5, in the F4 and in the F5000 T6 double header. But aside from that, you haven't got yourself a week off before we go to Monza. Based off your pace here, a circuit which is kind of similar in many ways, lots of long straights, lots of tight hairpins, fast change of direction. Do you think you're going to have any chance at Monza?
Monza is a circuit I love due to I'm very good at setting the car up for straights. And I love chicanes, so as long as I don't mess up, and now I've got so long to practice, really, and motivation, put it that way. Me and Ryan are probably both going to be, we're very good friends, and like we got have each other's set up, so we'll probably be practicing together to work this out. But just unlucky, completely unlucky, but I hope I can do well in Monza.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your comments and Speed. So in the meantime, we'll give you a rundown of the order while we're here under safety car conditions at Spa-Francorchamps. We've got the Pied Piper 27 in the lead on 151.0 as his fastest lap. We've got Flame Dragon 72 in second on 151.1 from him. Then there's Carson on 151.6 in third. Back in the 52s, we've got Sick Harry, but he's showing he's actually got a penalty for 10 seconds. Not quite. And Flame Dragon's retired. Flame Dragon's retired from the race on the safety car. Why has he done that?
I think it's probably an accident. It can't be any other reason. He's probably been given quite a lot of complaints, maybe back from the drivers, regarding the connection at that landing.
All right, okay, thank you very much for that.
Well, Ryan, it's good to have you with us. You seem to make a great move on Jordan there, up through Eau Rouge, but then you try to take take on F1 speed as well. Do you think it was just a risk too much?
I don't know what happened, because I thought speed was already ahead. And so all I saw was a Sauber right going sideways in front of me. And I couldn't really do anything.
I mean, obviously, all incidents will be reviewed by the stewards. I mean, your move did look very, very good on Jordan. Like, you got a fantastic piece of line, and your pace, despite being out of position early when you're running pretty much outside the points, you seem to start clawing yourself back in. Do you think this is a case of a podium that's gone begging today?
Yeah. I was in my mind, I was setting up the move on Jordan and speed a couple of laps earlier. Oh well.
Going back
go on.
Sorry, Swish. Going back to the first lap and in turn one, you seem to make an initial good start, but then you seem to get caught up in an incident. I mean, would you like to explain just what happened?
Well, I saw Harry Piper like taking a wide line in, so I just went, but then he started to turn back into it. So then either Jordan or Alan on the inside was also turning into it, and it just spun. I couldn't really turn the car on. I was going past
I mean, it's commiserations too. Yeah, I mean, obviously you did find yourself towards the back of the field along with your teammates, and but you seem to have the pace to get yourself back up the field, and you know a podium could still have been on for you tonight, but obviously it's unfortunate that incident has occurred. But going into, obviously we do have a week off now until we get to Monza in 2 weeks' time. How do you see yourself going around there?
I don't mind Monza, I quite like it.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your comments then. Commiserations to you, Ryan. Get yourself, put your feet up and enjoy a nice relaxing pint or whatever, and try and take your mind off it. And of course, best of luck in Monza in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, see you there.
Yeah. Just do what I'm doing with my beer.
Well, in the meantime, obviously now we've got the first place is the Pied Piper, and then in second we have Ascarsin. So battle is very much on, and the safety car looks like it's coming in this lap because we've suddenly got the field being bunched up, and we've got a car lagging behind in third place. BHA Cap and Waiter look like he lost a little bit of ground on the other guys at the front there. So right on board with Jordan, he's currently fourth place. Of course, you've got to be careful not to bolt too early because you don't want to catch up the safety car going through Blanchimont. And it looks like his Carson is waiting for the Pied Piper to attack, and there goes the curse. So here we go. Pied Piper leads as we go into the bus stop chicane. There's the white line, so you can overtake from this point forward into the bus stop. And looks like overhead, Pied Piper's got a decent run, but as Carson on the prime tyres compared to the leader has got a decent run behind, and so is BHA Cap and Waiter in the McLaren. These guys are attacking here as we go towards Lasso's hairpin. The Mercedes as Carson's going to jump on BHA Cap and Waiter. Oh, mistake with Pied Piper goes wide at Lasso's hairpin, and that's going to give a great opportunity here to Carson no DRS now for the next 2 laps. But as Carson's so close, he might be able to do this the old-fashioned way. Going up Eau Rouge, sparks flying off Pied Piper, who's gone wide, cold tyres, and that's going to give a great opportunity out to Carson. He's not used his curves, and he's stuck nailed to the back of that gearbox, pulls out the slipstream to the right. Behind him, meanwhile, BHA Cap and Waiter is trying to follow him through. Pied Piper might lose 2 positions here as Carson goes into Lane Coombe ahead. And look at this, the Pied Piper side by side going through Lane Coombe. But BHA Cap and Waiter hangs on, and has to settle into third. So great start from Carson. That puts him back into the lead here. But Pied Piper on the option tyres, once they warm up, will have a little more pace. Meanwhile, BHA Cap and Waiter is currently in third place, attacking the back of that Williams of Pied Piper. We've got a bit of a 2-tier race though, because after Jordan, we've only got the one other driver close to them, and that's Gravedigger. After that, there's a big gap back to 6th place.
Yeah, it's a great start from Ascarsin, considering he's on the prime tyres. You think that it'd take a little bit warmer to heat up, but clearly he's kept his tyres warm compared to the Pied Piper, and he's made an opportunistic move, and he's got where he needs to be. He's at the front of the queue.
Going through Stavelot, you'll see the BHA Cap and Waiter's got better grip, but at the same time, Ascarsin's gone wide and curved apart for A, and that's allowed Pied Piper to get close to him. So these 3 cars are pretty much nailed to each other, lying astern. As we head down towards Blanchimont, we're going to see 3 cars going out, and there's big yellow flags here all of a sudden through sector 3. What's going on? Green flag's back, so we're not seeing any overtaking his problem.
John Digweed went off at Stavel. He's gone to the gravel, and he's back on track now.
As Carson's got one, the bus stop chicane, and so has BHA Captain Waiter. So great opportunity for the Pied Piper, as also Jordan has now got a chance to attack BHA Captain Waiter and McLaren. As we head into the Lost Source hairpin, again, no DRS available. BHA Captain Waiter dies on the inside of Lost Source. He's not close enough, he gets a little tap along the way there by Jordan. Meanwhile, in P5, we've got the Sauber of XRL Gravedigger. So these 5 cars are all covered by maybe 3 seconds so far. Meantime, F1 Originals asked what caused the safety car. It was an incident 2 laps ago between Ryan and F1 Speed going through Eau Rouge, where Ryan got a sensational pass on Jordan, but didn't back out inside to avoid F1 Speed. Up ahead, DRS is already available, and Pied Piper makes a move around the outside of Lake Coombe. Can he hang it on the outside of Cassin? Yes, he can. And Jordan now getting close to the back of BHA Captain Waiter. The reset button has been hit, and we got 5 cars very, very close together at the head of this snake.
I think what Grave doing is he's doing a fantastic job coming up from F5000 to cover in F4 tonight. He's doing a great job. In P5, the safety car has helped him, but he's sticking onto he's hanging on to these guys at the front. He's doing a great job.
Moving away from the on-track action for a brief moment, Speedland 56 is asking on the screen, who's been the most disappointing driver and team this season for us? Well, for me, the most disappointing team is Sauber. How you can go from fighting them for 4th positions at the end of your season to being beaten by Marussia's is pure rejectfulness. It's terrible.
Pied Piper's gone off at Stavelot. Escassin's now going to have a look. And he goes through, he retakes the lead.
BHA Captain Way well for Kurt Porphyry, and Jordan Kelly has taken him as well. So both Mercedes have moved up the field. We've got Escarcin in third, Jordan in third, and Escarcin in first. Behind there's Pied Piper, who's attacking on the inside of the bus stop chicane. And Jordan gets very late on the brakes. Fixmo trying to drive around the outside, trying to go for the cut bar, but he hits the sausage curb. That's going to slow him down. And meanwhile, we've got BHA Captain Way who's got poor traction now off the bus stop chicane. DRS slot wide open for Jordan Kelly as we head into the Lost Source hairpin. Opportunity here as he gets behind Pied Piper, but Pied Piper gets a run of traction for now. Right, going back to the Studios question, most disappointing driver? Ooh, probably say Kimi Räikkönen. He's probably the most disappointing driver.
Yeah, I'd go with that as well, definitely.
Meanwhile, DRS flop over for BHA Captain Waiter, but at the same time, Jordan's got the same advantage. Even so, BHA Captain Waiter's going to have a go. He's side by side with the Mercedes, going to go to Lake Coombe. Gets on the brakes nice and late, hits the inside curve, nearly gets spat out for his troubles. And Jordan tries to throw on the outside of Lake Coombe, but he hangs on, keeps third position. Meanwhile, Escarcin is now staring at the back of Pied Piper, and Escarcin goes wide at Bruxelles as we're heading towards Ravage. And you can see that Pied Piper's starting to get a more consistent line here. Maybe the tyres will come back to him, and now a great opportunity.
Well, actually, the Pied Piper had the DRS and passed him down the Camel Straight quite easily on the inside to Lake Coombe. So both Mercedes, even though they gained the position through Blanchimont and in the bus stop, they've lost out immediately on through the Camel Straight.
It seems that we've seen a lot of that on the circuit in the last few races. F1 was like that, it was kind of like watching the slot machine. And GP2 in the rain, we saw quite a lot of that. Now with the safety car, we saw the lap time slow down. Will that be critical? Because the pole cover doesn't seem to get any thicker at all.
No, it could be simply as a case of this rain could come right at the very end of the race and come out of nowhere. Or then again, we might not even see it at all. It's just a matter of time. But Jordan Kelly has got a great run on BHA Captain Way through Blanchimont. He might have a look on perhaps go later on the brakes into the bus stop, but he's backed off. He's probably waiting for the DRS on the Camel Straight.
You'd expect him to want to use the DRS here from the bus stop chicane to close up through last fourth and then attack down the Camel Straight. That's what the smart money would be on. It makes me ask, what's the point in including this DRS zone? For me, they shouldn't have bothered to even include it. It's not necessary. So meanwhile, as Cassin, he's very close to the back now. Pied Piper, he's deploying his curves off last source to get as close as possible through Eau Rouge, and that'll give him a chance off riding. Oh, he hits the wall there at the edge there in the pit lane. He's damaging his car, but that's not going to help his traction. DRS and Norville with yellow curves deployed off Radion, and there goes the flat. And we've already lost connection to Ryan, but he's already had a crash, so there's no loss there. DRS going down the Camel Straight as Cassin's on the inside line. Oh, the Pied Piper defends beautifully on the outside. Meanwhile, looking back for these guys, BHA Captain Waiter resists the sister Williams of Jordan. So all of a sudden, the Williams boys are struggling to get past.
You mean Mercedes boys there, Swish?
Yes, Mercedes boys.
Yeah, that was super good. Jordan actually, he didn't use any of his curves. He had the DRS. He could have easily made a move on BHA Captain Waiter, but he eased off at the end. Perhaps these two are maybe playing the waiting game, trying to catch up to the guys in front. But Jordan does, well, he has 3/4 of a bar curves to use, which he probably will use through out of Kerber. I can't even pronounce that. I'll just say Stavelov.
Kerber right. Going through campus, and as Carson lets a decent run on the back through Stavelov because Pipe went wide at campus. And as we go into Kerber right, down towards Blanchimont, great opportunity for us, Carson now. He's starting to close up. Meanwhile, behind him, as you correctly predicted, we can see that McLaren under big pressure. Jordan's already making a move before Blanchimont. He's used the curse and already he's passed. Great driver from Jordan. They're going for the alternative strategy, but that's going to make him vulnerable from BHA Cats and Waiter. Going down the Camel Straight, you would expect. Going into the bus stop chicane whilst Carson's closed up to the back of Piper, and BHA Cats and Waiter tried to attack Jordan there, but resisted making the move. Into what's happened. As Cassidy trying to take the wider line and in entry, tighter line at the corner, gets himself a chance to catch the Pipe, but he's just not quite up the traction. Going into Wall Rouge, going to be an opportunity. Oh, lag! 5-second lag! And he almost hit us Cassidy as a result of that. Pipe was behind for an arbitrary reason, but also as Carson's going to be able to use DRS to pull ahead as BHA Cats and Waiter has the DRS open on Jordan, who goes onto the grass before the Lakewood complex, and he has to give that up.
Strangely, Jordan could easily have defended that. He's got a full, but he hasn't touched these curves whatsoever. Like I said, perhaps these two are helping each other to try and catch up to the two guys in front, but I don't see why you would do that, although actually saying that, there was a comment made that Edema Mr. Indigo and I myself were actually doing that in the F1 division, and, well, we did, but it didn't seem to work.
Going through Pouon, Piper trying to get close to us Carson. Despite his lag, Piper's only about a second adrift on a Mercedes, so we still have a race here. The race has not been ended in an arbitrary way, thank goodness. Going through campus, a little bit of tail slip there from Piper, who goes onto the AstroTurf outside just before Stavelot. Into Stavelot itself, it's a nice tight line, kisses the outside AstroTurf through Kerber right. Piper is on all-out attack here to try and get close to the back of that Mercedes. BHA Captain Waiter behind me while still resisting Jordan. But as Carson is in the lead, look at the slipstream advantage. Piper thinking about moving on the inside of Blanchimont. Wow, what an overtake! That's one of the greatest passes I've ever seen from Piper there. Superb. Meanwhile, Flame Driver 72 comes on the stream. Hashtag so good with lag on this game.
Ouch.
I can't fault you for that one. I completely understand where you're coming from. As Carson coming off last source looks at the back of Piper 21, who's shown he's not afraid to race anybody here. We've got 20 watts left of the Spa-Francorchamps coming off the Eau Rouge complex as Carson goes through Radion, uses the curves, he got the DRS down the Camel straight towards Lake Coombe. And there's a great opportunity for the Mercedes drivers to take back the lead, but how long is it going to keep it for? Because these guys have been taking it back of each other like all over the place. It's pretty much like watching British touring cars rather than watching Formula 1.
Now, I still do not understand this from Jordan. These two are actually falling behind the two leaders now. And has Jordan got a problem of some sort? Because he just seems to be slowing down.
It's weird because you think that Jordan would want to try and get out with that big gap between Piper and BHA Captain Waiter. As a driver, you want to be in the gap, you want to have the best clean air, you want to protect your tyres. That's exactly how you want to do it. So I'm surprised he's doing this kind of strategy. Now, Piper, he's looking at the back of his Carson. It goes into the campus complex, and then before Stavelot, but he's got a poor entry through the middle of campus there. And that's going to allow Carson to pull away for now, going through Stavelot. And again, Piper has to take a second bite at the corner. Maybe he's taking a while of his tyres in this constant battle.
Perhaps the only reason Jordan is doing this, perhaps they've been given a warning about rain that could be on its way, and he's trying to make a big enough gap to his teammates so they don't double stack. That is the only reason I can think of.
Going through Blanchimont, Piper 27 is catching up to the back of Carson. So Carson's going to lead as we start the next lap, going through the bus stop chicane now. And good traction out the corner there from both Mercedes and the Williams driver. DRS will be available. There goes the flat from Piper down towards La Source. That's going to give it an extra 10 miles per hour or so in speed boost. Down into the hairpin itself. Great opportunity now. And he's going to have a great chance to attack out of Eau Rouge. Uses a bit of his curves already. Half the bar has been deployed by Piper to get as close as possible through Eau Rouge. I imagine the second half will go at the top of Radio. There it goes, he's already pulling alongside as Carson just gets out of his way. He sees him coming, knows there's no point fighting. DRS flat open from Carson, and now down towards Lacoum. Again, these guys have switched positions. I mean, is that DRS so too powerful? But Carson takes an advantage. Lacoum, big mistake made from the Pied Piper, but he just hangs on the inside line. But going into Bruxelles, as Carson passes the outside run, they lock tyres, and Pied Piper's going to have the title line through Rivard. He just about hangs on.
In the meantime, Jordan had actually passed BHA Captain Way this time on the Kemmel Straight, and he's actually already pulling away from him. So this could be Jordan's time to attack the two guys in front.
Well, BHA Captain Way is not too far behind Jordan, but he will have also given some bad tyre wear to Jordan, thanks to the dirty air. So it's a great opportunity. Now, meantime, as Carson trying to get close to the back of Pied Piper 27, going into Snabelows, Pied Piper makes a bit of a mistake, goes wide. I think those option tyres are getting to the end of their life already, thanks to the hard driving they've been put through. And as Carson now on the prime tyres, there's a great opportunity to attack. Going down towards Watcherman, he goes on the outside, and he's going to try and do it the old-fashioned way. We've seen the inside pass. Can Carson go on the outside? Yes, he can! Unbelievable! That's 2 moves there we've seen now. Sensational!
Calm down after this.
Through the bus stop chicane, Pied Piper trying to get the DRS flat wide open to attack after lane source, going into Old Roads. He's definitely got an opportunity here. These guys are putting on an absolute clinic here tonight in terms of how you absolutely race each other wheel to wheel, lap after lap. This has been beautiful to watch. Going the curse deployed off Lasso's hairpin, and already Pied Piper's deployed all of it. He wants to ensure there's no chance he's going to be too far behind. Going through Old Roads, he's got none left now, so he's going to be relying on the DRS. Getting close behind the back of Carson. There goes the flat. Pied Piper pulls out the slipstream with the DRS, heading down towards the slipstream towards Lacoum. He should be able to get the car stopped, gets on the brakes, gets on the anchors, and he manages to get into the corner well. So once again, Carson falls behind.
And once again, Jordan's gone behind Captain Werther. Captain Werther again using all of his curves, and the DRS goes back ahead of Jordan.
I think we've got a case of Red Bull versus Ferrari in terms of strategy here. Low downforce on the Williams of Pied Piper for sectors 1 and 3, and then high downforce on Carson for sector 2. And both drivers are trading off each other as a result of it. Meantime, Flame Dragon says he would have challenged Pied Piper for lead on options, but the safety car whacked him like hell, and he says, never mind, hopefully the next one's better. Meanwhile, Just Keats coming in, giving a world day from GP3. Stevo currently has around a 12-second lead over Mr. Stevo. Val of Jigsaw's in third after starting last due to a qualifying ban. So Val of Jigsaw's showing a great recovery. Now, the clouds have darkened a little bit, but it's not yet close enough to actually be bringing in the rain. Oh, it's casting on a bit of a lag there and falls behind the Pied Piper. Is that going to take him out of DRS range, out of the bus stop chicane?
Jordan coming up the inside of Blongemon on BHA Captain Werther, and he makes that stick.
Just got the end of that, so we see some fantastic moves today. Drivers attacking through Blanchimont, not usually what you see, but everyone's done a great job. DRS flop over from Carson as they head down towards the Lasso's hairpin, and as Carson gets on the brakes nice and early, make sure he doesn't rear end the back of Pied Piper, who's getting poor traction out the corners now. Meanwhile, behind them, we got another close scrap because going into Lasso's, Jordan under pressure of BHA Captain Wader, but Jordan resists now into Eau Rouge as Carson gets on the tail of Pied Piper. He's already deployed 3/4 of his curve. He's not used his second part of cherry yet, but there goes the flap on the DRS, pulls out the slipstream, and once again he goes ahead. Now, can he get the car stopped into Lacoum? Gets on the brakes nice and early, gets on the inside line, and that's a superb job from Carson. Moving back then towards this third place fight, BHA Captain Wader on the DRS goes past at Lacoum. So these guys are attacking each other lap after lap. It's overtake after overtake. This is brilliant driving and a great advertisement for league racing all over the world. So do you think this is going to be what you're going to be doing at Monza then in the F1 division? I mean, see so much overtaking tonight.
Well, we did that. Some of this did occur actually in the F1 division. I mean, I remember my overtakes were Eau Rouge, and then the Hackman Schumacher rest.
I think we've got rain.
Oh, it's clouded over all of a sudden.
I think I'm seeing rain spots. Yes, there's rain spots through campus. The rain has arrived.
Well,
It's literally arrived out of nowhere. A lap ago, the sky was clear. Now it's completely greyed over, and we've got a little bit of rain as we go through Colonel Palfrey down towards Blanchimont. So all of a sudden, the whole schematics of this race has changed. How long will it take for the rain to come? Whose tyres are going to hang on? The person in the pound seats here is Carson, who's on the prime tyres in the lead. Meanwhile, behind him, you've got BHA Captain Waiter on the options, and then you've also got Jordan on the options. So Carson on pure tyre strategy might well have the best position here, because while these guys start to lose their grip after being battling so many battles lap after lap, Carson's primes will last longer. Already look at his gap. He's got a big gap already as we go through Eau Rouge.
It's just a case of how heavy this rain's going to come down, and it's already starting to pick up already. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some people pitting at the end of this lap.
Well, the thing about Spa-Francorchamps, of course, is that it's right in the middle of the forest. So you get a lot of rain on the circuit and the trees just puts the water right back down again. So it's one of those circuits where rain sticks around for a while. Monza's the same as that, and also the old Hockenheim, when you used to go through the forest, was notorious for it. Remember the race in 2001 where Rubens Barrichello won from 18th place? That was another classic due to the rain not going away. Now, Jordan K, meanwhile, is in P3. He's got ahead of BHA Captain Waiter. So the Mercedes, look how quickly that rain's coming down now. That rain has really picked up. It's already raining very, very heavily. And I won't be surprised if someone in the mid-pack, someone who's got nothing to lose, kind of like XRL Gravedigger, who's got a big gap in front of him and behind him to Tucker. These two drivers from F5000 have got nothing to lose. I mean, look how murky it is going through the campus section. You've actually got fog as you guys are coming through here. This is incredible.
Yeah, I would pit this lap. I mean, you're going to be doing a 2-minute lap at least on the next lap, and you're going to lose so much time. I would box this lap even if I was the leader.
You already see, I agree with you, because the thing about Spa-Francorchamps, like Singapore, it's such a long circuit that if you get the call wrong, you are going to lose a lot of time. Go back to 2008 at Silverstone, when Lewis Hamilton won by a minute. Who came third? Rubens Barrichello for Honda, when he realised it was better to pit, and he dragged the car. Pied Piper's in. BHA Captain Waiter's in, and also so is the sister Mercedes of Jordan. But Gravedigger stayed out. So is the Red Bull. A catastrophic error.
So Clarkford in 7th. He dies into the box.
Well, Jordan K's now in P6 at the moment. BHA Captain White has got ahead of him thanks to the pits. Pied Piper's already out of the pit stops. Now, I think Pied Piper is the one who's in the pound seats here to take race victory, because that weather is getting worse. Tucker Harley has right on board, and he's on the prime tyres. Strange we're not losing too much pace. Pied Piper, meanwhile, with DRS, despite being on the intermediate tyres. How's he done that? Going into Lake Coo, attacking the back of the Sauber, and already big mistake been made here by Gravedigger, and I get the feeling Pied Piper's going to try clean around him coming out of Bruxelles.
Yeah, definitely intermediate tyres now. There's a lot of spray kicking up off the back of the intermediate tyres from Sir Clarkford. I think the guys who have already made their pit stops have called it right.
Piper's just dived around the outside through Rivage, and meanwhile, as Carson in the lead. Well, the good advantage is great. He's already at Stavolo. Behind him, the Pied Piper's only just gone through Pouon, so he might just get away with this as Carson. His pace is still not that bad.
I think he's going to lose out to the Pied Piper, though. It's a case of where he's going to stay out ahead of Jordan and Captain Waiter.
Let's see how he goes through Blanchimont. He's still kept it in the gas there, and he's not lost too much traction. Lap time doesn't look like he's dropped off too much, to be honest.
Perhaps he could get away with it then, but I wouldn't be surprised if
he's in the pits now. So let's ride on board with the Pied Piper, who's just going up to Blanchimont. This is going to be tight here as we go out of the bus stop chicane. I do think Escarce's going to keep the lead here. I get the feeling he's just done enough. Going into the bus stop chicane now, Pied Piper gets through the side thing, and of course, with the pit lane exit here, he's around the inside of Lasso, so he covered less ground. It's going to be tight here. We've already got Escarce coming up to the edge of the corner. Pied Piper's just out Lasso now. Escarce's going to have it by maybe a second. He's just done enough to take the lead.
Very lucky boy there. Received a message.
Connor, meanwhile, is cheering on Piper on the street saying, beat us, Carson. Well, it's going to be a straight dogfight now. DRS1 with disabled as the dry tyres have been taken off the cars and the rain is coming down. Now, will it get heavy enough for the wets? We've got 14 laps to go, and that cloud cover's very, very thick. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I think in about 2 or 3 laps time we're going to see those wet tyres perhaps even shorter than that, perhaps even within one lap. You never know.
Spark Rocket Champs always seems to bring out the best in drivers, doesn't it? Always seems to bring out the action. And of course, one thing that might have affected this was the safety car. We probably lost at least one lap due to being stuck behind the safety car for as long as we did. So that's obviously affected the rain as well, because the rain's come slightly earlier into the net part of the race as a result. And meanwhile, Pied Piper's got better traction going through Puon than Muscarson up ahead of him. Muscarson struggling on these intermediates so far as we go through campus. Pied Piper's definitely closing that gap.
One person who actually hasn't pitted yet is Tucker Harley. He's still on his prime tyres and, well, he's sliding all over the place.
No, that's an amateur's error, that's private. He is an F5000, so he is one of the lower ranked drivers in the division. We'd still think that once the rain comes, it's time to get yourself into the box and get those tyres changed.
One person who is impressing me constantly still is XRL Gravedigger. He's still in P5 and he's doing a good job. He's representing an F5 here and, well, he will certainly be proud of his result.
Pied Piper gets a lot of tail slip as we go through the final part of the bus stop chicane. Of course, no DRS now, so it's all about driving skill. Now, as we head down to Lasso's hairpin, I get the feel drivers might still try and make a move through the likes of the Camel Straight into Lake Coombe, but I don't think we're going to see any more banzai moves around the outside of Blanchimont now.
Oh, you'd be very surprised, Swish. We saw it last night in the GP2 division. Oh, it's Gravedigger has a moment out of the bus stop. We saw people still attacking through Blanchimont. I mean, they were getting close and perhaps making a half-hearted move, but there were still overtakes going into the bus stop, so there's still a couple of areas where we can see overtaking, but it certainly will be a little bit restricted.
Pied Piper trying to get as close as he can to the back of his carton as they go into Lake Coombe, and he just seems to be a little more confident on the car's acceleration, but he's not doing enough. Now, BHA Captain Waiter, he's on a net gain here because he's come ahead of Jordan Kane, who's got about a second on the McLaren driver. So, good drive from BHA Captain Waiter to hang on to third place, but the real action at the moment is at the sharp end of the grid as Pied Piper and Escarsin are separated by about a second here, so we're going to ride on board and follow the leaders for now. Of course, keep your comments coming in on the stream with the likes of Connor K, Just Key, Flame Dragon getting involved there. You can also send messages via Xbox Live to either myself, Game Attack Swishbone, or of course you can send it to XRL Bollocks as well, who's in the commentary box with me, and we'll get those comments read out when we can. Heading into Stavellodo, Pied Piper seems much closer to the back of Escarsin, but Escarsin seems to just have the outright pace at the moment overall. So Escarsin probably at the moment in the favour to take the victory, but look at how much spray's being kicked up now. Would you pit for wets or would you hang on for one more lap?
I would. The puddles have started to form. I would pit for wets this lap simply because, again, you could be doing a 2-minute lap and you could just lose so much. So I would pit this lap.
Well, the leaders have not. So the question is, will someone behind like BHA Captain Waiter, someone like that, be able to dive in and try and steal the march here? Because the gap between the tyres is very, very big, and the water, we might be at that crossover point where neither tyre.
Jordan Pitt.
Yeah, I had a feeling somewhat one of those two might go for the box, so Jordan's going to want to watch here, because it's such a long lap. It's going to take a long time to get around if the tyres start to give no grip. They're going through Eau Rouge at decent pace, a little bit of lifting, that's to be expected in the rain, and you can definitely see the puddles starting to form. We've not got the rivers on the track, but we've definitely got more moisture down.
Well, I'm going to go on board with Jordan on this lap and see how he goes. I mean, Gravedigger in 5th behind us also. Everyone behind Jordan, everyone from 4th downwards has gone into the pits for wet tyres.
Oh, we saw a little bit of a bounce on the screen there from Escarsin as his connection started to wobble a bit, not what we needed. Pied Piper was very, very wide at Bruxelles. He's not got any grip left. These tyres have gone. They don't suit his sector at all. Escarsin has pulled out massively on him. He's pulled a huge gap. All of a sudden, Pied Piper has lost a load of time going through Puon, and you can see that Escarsin is definitely a little more confident on those tyres. Pied Piper in real trouble here.
Yeah, Jordan is comfortably making his way through the middle sector, having no problems whatsoever. He's got a good balance, good aerodynamics, and I can see him jumping BHA Captain Waiter and perhaps even catch up to the likes of Piper and Escarsin actually at the front end. So he could see
Piper's just going through Stavellow now, and ahead of him Escarsin's just gone through a curve of Paul-Ferrari. You have about 3 seconds between them two, and you can definitely see that this is not the kind of conditions for these tyres. I'd expect all the 3 drivers currently in third, so first, second and third, to be diving into the box at the end of this lap. The question is, has Jordan stolen a march on all of them? Meanwhile, the rain, bizarrely, started to slacken off. So, big mistake from Piper. He goes wide at the bus stop. gets away with it, and he's going to have to do a very... Oh, he's hit the wall! He's lost an end plate, and he's slowed up massively. Lost a load of time. BHA Captain Waiter is going to be closer to him now than the Scarsing. Meanwhile, Jordan, he's just going through Blanchimont as we speak, going into the bus stop chicane. This is going to be touch and go here, especially for the Pied Piper, who's going to need a new wing.
This is going to be a 1-2 for Mercedes, I think, but Scarsing's already leaving the pits. He's out on those wet tyres, but I can see Jordan. Yes, Jordan's going to be in second place.
I don't know about that. It's going to be pretty close here. He gets onto the source at the same time as the Pied Piper. I think he's just going to get away with that Pied Piper. But this is really close. And BHA Captain Waiter is the loser in all that, but not by as much as I thought he would. So, all on the wet tyres now, as we are in the very heavy rain at Spa-Francorchamps. Big winner, that's Cassin. He's got a huge lead all of a sudden. We're talking about 8 seconds.
Thankfully, the Williams mechanics changed the front wing. I mean, sometimes in the pit stops, especially around Spa, you know, when you crash it into the wall, sometimes they won't have a wing ready for you, and you have to make do without an end plate. But thankfully for the Pied Piper, he did have a wing change.
Case of make do amend as Jordan gets close to the back of Pied Piper's Williams, and he's being followed by the McLaren of BHA Captain Waiter as we go through Bruce South. We're at the 3/4 race distance mark, 11 laps to go, and we're here in the rain. We've had safety cars, and we've had some sensational fighting on the track. Dogfight lap after lap. F4's definitely put on a show here tonight. Tomorrow night, of course, do not forget that you have the double header of F5000 and T6. You've got F1, you've got XRL Bernie covering the F5000, and you've got F1 Speed covering T6. So keep an eye on those two. You can also watch that on multi-twitch tomorrow night if you're feeling flash. Now, BHA Captain Waiter going for his stab below has caught right up to Jordan. So these two, once again, are in a dogfight. They've been like this all race, and they're going to keep on doing it. BHA Captain Waiter takes a wide line through Blanchimont to get more speed than the Mercedes of Jordan, and he fancies to move into the bus stop chicane. He took a look, and Jordan went wide to give him room. BHA Captain Waiter tries to come back to get tighter grip, and Jordan goes wide over onto the curve, and after that he's got no traction there. The moistures are going to cause the wheels to spin, and going into Lasso's hairpin. I think BHA Captain Waiter might take this. He goes ahead on the outside. Has he held the position? Jordan's really close to him, but no, BHA Captain Waiter is now in third. Connor Kay on the street, meanwhile, simply says no way. Yes way, we've got plenty of action to come on the track here as Jordan Kay gets in the slipstream of the McLaren, going down the Camel Straight. He's deployed his curse, gets in the slipstream, gets a lot of moisture in his helmet. BHA Captain Waiter sees him on the left hand side. Can Jordan go around the outside into Lake Coombe? Yes he can. Great driving for Jordan Kay to take that back.
Those two are just going at it all through the race, actually. I just wonder if they can keep it over these last 10 laps, but could they work together again to perhaps this time catch up to the Pied Piper? I mean, even though Jordan's made it a mistake, they're only about a second and a half, 2 seconds behind him.
Jordan's made a mistake of Rivage, and BHA Captain Waiter dies underneath him, sold him a dummy, and forced a mistake. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, Just Key has put an update on the football. We're not interested.
Well, we may, but this could be. You never know.
Campus section, BHA Captain Waiter goes wide. Oh, great opportunity to snap low here. Jordan Kay having a great opportunity to catch up to BHA Captain Waiter, who did a superb pass on a dummy. And the second corner after Broussard, we're calling it Rivage. And Pied Piper's making a mistake. Pied Piper's gone wide. And BHA Captain Waiter coming up curb Porphyry. He's going to take second place. Can he hold on to it through Blanchimont? Oh, they collide. Going into Blanchimont there. Suddenly all go side by side through here. I was wrong. BHA Captain Waiter takes the position.
3 right. Oh god, this is just going to be crazy.
Jordan Kay back on his chain now as we go to the bus stop chicane. These 3 drivers battling for third place. Absolutely crazy stuff going on here. Jordan Kay behind Pied Piper, and ahead of him BHA Captain Waiter in the McLaren. And Pied Piper's gone wide. He's made a huge mistake on the source, and Jordan initially gets ahead, but at the same time Pied Piper's fighting back on the outside. It's nose to tail stuff here as we head toward Rouge. Who's going to have the title line? Who's going to yield? Oh, we've lost connection to Gravedigger, unbelievably. Oh, mistake from Pied Piper has gone over the inside of Eau Rouge. He's going to have to give that position back, or that will be an illegal overtake. Jordan Kane, meanwhile, takes the slipstream, going down the Camel Straight into Lake Coombe. Oh, but Pied Piper's hit him, going through Lake Coombe. He's not letting go. And Jordan Kane hangs on the outside to keep the position.
Well, no matter where you look, there's action going through the field. I mean, I'm currently on board with John Digweed in P6, and he had a little bit of a ding-dong with the Williams of Sick Harry, which seems to, well, there's a little bit of a gap now, but Sick Harry is clearly the quicker car at this moment in time in terms of John Digweed. But as you said, the battle for P3 and 4 is still going at it.
Meanwhile, just keep us in the reverse. Apparently, they've scored again.
Oh, dear me, really? 5-0 already?
Looks like we're up for a cricket score in terms of that one. Pied Piper, meanwhile, in P4, trying to get close to the back of Jordan Kane in the Mercedes, and he goes wide of Stavelot, which compromises his entrance into Curve Paul Ferrari, but he's still within touching distance of that Mercedes. Pied Piper not out of this, but you've got to say full credit to his Carson, who manages to get ahead under the wet conditions and hang it in there. I mean, some people might argue there's been a few ding-dongs early in the race, but with all the passing that he's made on Pied Piper, you can't say he's not deserved it.
Yep, I simply couldn't agree with you more. You've summed it up
well.
Smitty
One is asking, can we have another F1 pop quiz?
I don't see
maybe. Not a bad idea.
Well, go on then, Chris. Go on then. Smitty, lad, you've started all this. You come up with a question.
Yeah, go on, Smitty. We'll hand the honours to you for the first question. Pied Piper, meanwhile, going off last source hairpin, trying to catch up to the Mercedes of Jordan, but Jordan's kind of dropped him a bit here, and Jordan's now trying to catch up to BHA Captain Waiter. Got a bit of a gap up front now also, as the cars have kind of spread out. When the rain comes, you see this kind of concertina effect, where they bunch up and spread out very quickly, as they all adapt to the grip on circuit.
Yeah, I mean, some in this division, somebody who's really adapts to the wet conditions well is BHA Captain Werther. He proved to us at the Nürburgring in Germany, where we had the wet conditions throughout the entire race, that he really loves the wet conditions, and he's proven it again now. He's made his way up to P2 after initially losing out at the pit stops, but, well, he's clearly too far behind Ascassen, who has a huge lead now of around about, I'd say, 15 seconds. And it's just a case of him, you know, keeping it cool, keeping it calm, and maintain the gap to Jordan, and who else is behind him actually? I've forgotten now already.
We've got Jordan in third place, and then the Pied Piper in fourth. So he's got some competent drivers chasing his tails, but he's just not quick enough. Sir Clark from meanwhile now in P5. He's a driver who's doing quite well. John Digweed in 6. These guys aren't really on the pace, but they're doing a good job. Sick Harry is 7th, Hartley in 8th, and he's the last. We've got Crazy Fish in the back who's just spun his McLaren, so definitely having a race to forget here in many ways, but he will score points. Stock Crazy Fish, so we can't argue too much. Now, here's an interesting question for Smitty Lad. He's saying, name the 2 teammates that Heidfeld had in 2006. That was when he was racing for Williams, and I believe that was...
It was 2006 W Sauber, wasn't it?
Wasn't
that when Robert Kubica came in?
Yeah, that's probably right. So it'd been Robert Kubica, and who was the other one? Oh, Jacques Villeneuve, wasn't
Jacques Villeneuve. Or was it Sebastian Vettel when he had his test
No, that was 2007 when he came in.
2007, yeah.
And I know that Jacques Villeneuve was there because he was driving for the first couple of seasons and then got replaced by Robert Kubica. Good spot.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jordan getting on the slipstream of BHA Captain Waiter and the McLaren as they go into Lake Coombe. Jordan's passing a late-breaking move there, but BHA Captain Waiter on the outside line and hangs on for now. But BHA Captain Waiter will be on a few brown streaks in his trousers over that one, because all of a sudden Jordan's closed him very quickly indeed.
Well, this is interesting, Swish. Captain Werther, Jordan, and Sick Harry all have penalties. Has
retired? Why is everyone retiring all of a sudden? Meanwhile, Steele says, correct, it was Kubica and Villeneuve. We thought it was.
Yep. Told you it wasn't Williams. Stole a march on you there for once. Not often I'd be able to do that. But yeah, that was a strange one from Mr. Clafford. He was running in 5th place, but why would he retire?
I've got a question. Which person was Mark Webber a teammate to at 2 different teams in F1? Pied Piper in P4 trying to catch up as close as he can to Maka Jordan, who's looking at BHA Captain Wait. So we got that 3-car scrap all over again. Just for those of you who missed, I'll repeat the question one more time. Which driver was a teammate to Mark Webber at 2 different Formula 1 teams? Now, Pied Piper gets a good run off the bus stop chicane trying to catch up to Jordan as Jordan looks at the back of BHA Captain Waiter going into last source. These guys are all really close.
I'm trying to go through actually all the teams that he was with and all the drivers that he's had, but I think there's one that I'm missing.
Yeah, Smitty lad asking what's the question. Okay, third time, pay attention Smitty. The question is this. Which driver has been a teammate to Mark Webber at 2 different F1 teams as Jordan K gets a better ride off Eau Rouge and goes around the outside of BHA Captain Waiter. We're going down towards Lake Coombe. Who's going to brake tighter? Pied Piper's in on this as well. We've got 3 cars really close together. Pied Piper's had to back out, that's to avoid hitting them. But and then he's cut the chicane at the end there. But Pied Piper really struggling. Clarkford, what happened there? What was the incident?
There was no incident, I just needed to go to the toilet really badly.
Oh no! So you caught short at the worst possible time.
I was desperately trying to hold on, but I just couldn't anymore.
I'm surprised you didn't show mechanic Kimi Raikkonen in 2006 at the Interlagos Grand Prix.
Oh, yes.
You were doing really well there for the Barrow boys there. I mean, you were running 5th place after starting at the back. You've let us down.
I was enjoying that, man. I'm sorry. I just needed like a bottle or something near me.
Well, I've got one, but it's a bit late for me to send that round now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was quite fun actually, though.
Well, I mean, obviously you've got some key data for your race tomorrow night in the F5000 division. Does that give you a lot of confidence going into F5000 tomorrow and race there tonight?
I don't actually race in F5000.
He doesn't race in F5000.
Oh, T6 where race you go?
He used to race in F4, it's just he had to leave for a period of time.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So I was just helping out really, but yeah, that was a shame because that was fun.
Well, commiserations, and who knows, maybe we'll see you filling in again another time, but go put your feet up and enjoy yourself.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
See you later, Adam. So.
Right. Meanwhile, Spinny Lad has answered clear to my question. Incorrect.
Who did he answer?
Christian Clean.
Christian Clean.
They were only teammates once at Red Bull.
No, I don't think it was Nico Rosberg when they were teammates at Williams.
Nope.
Oh, well, no.
They've only been teammates once at Williams.
Yeah, just I think if they were together at another point.
And again, this is F1 only. I'm not counting like F3000 or F3 or anything like that. It's F1.
Surely it's not Vettel, is it?
Nope. Some purists would technically argue that is because, of course, Vettel raced in Toro Rosso when it was part of the Red Bull Academy, but Webber never raced for Toro Rosso, so they were only teammates at Red Bull. As BHA Cataway makes a big mistake at Pouon, goes off there and gives him a lot of moisture, so Pied Piper suddenly started closing him down and Jordan's pulled away, so Mercedes are on for a 1-2 here tonight. Art emulating life, it would seem. But yes, no more offers have yet come in for my question. I'm surprised this has stumped you.
Yeah.
Pied Piper gets a good run off curve Paul Ferrari into Blanchimont, and Pied Piper got a lot more speed to BHA Cataway, and Cataway fishtailed at the edge of Blanchimont, but then brakes very, very late into the bus stop. How did he get the car stopped there? Wow, that was great driving from BHA Cataway. Smittyland answers Coulthard. Nope, they were only teammates at Red Bull. Pied Piper now gets on the gas, trying to get as close as he can to the back of the McLaren of BHA Captain Way. The battle for third place, final podium slot up for grabs here. Kerr's being deployed by Pied Piper as he attacks going down the Camel Straight. This looks like he's easily going to have the initial traction, but the question is, can BHA Captain Way fight back using the slipstream down towards Lake Coombe? No, he's just too far behind, so Pied Piper takes third place for now. And And Smitty Lad says he's stunned. Wow, I'm surprised.
I'm still trying to go through his list of teammates that he had. Now, he was in Minardi for 1 season. I remember being in Jaguar for 2 seasons, I believe, before he moved to Williams and then Red Bull. He's been at 4 teams, if I'm correct.
Now you just got to know which teammates race for him with 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, lag again for BHA Captain Waiter, and he's fallen away from the Pied Piper in an arbitrary fashion. And we've only got 4 laps to go, so I think that might have settled down the results, unfortunately. We've got Sick Harry in 6th place, then in 7th place Tucker O'Harley, then in 8th place we've got Crazy Fish, who's still going, and then we've got Ascasa, who's made a mistake and actually missed the chicane on the bus stop, but no one's anywhere near him to punish him.
Yeah, ever since the rain has come and ever since Pied Piper made his mistake into the pit lane, it's been comfortable for him.
That's very true. So let me know when you give up, Roberts, because no one else has said anything on the stream.
Give me till the end of the race.
That's fair enough. There's only 4 laps to go. Right, so we are then in 4th place. BHA Captain Waiters trying to catch up to the Williams, the Pied Piper, and then ahead of them Jordan. So these guys are still close together, and it's only going to take 1 mistake for that to all change. So whilst it pretty much sets the order, it's not yet set. Smitty Lad, you'll have to hang on for 3 more laps, or until Roberts gets it, because I'm being fair, he wants a chance to crack the answer. So we're going to finish under wet conditions. Just key me while I ask for the question. I'll give it you again. I simply asked, which is the driver that's been a teammate to Mark Webber at 2 different Formula 1 teams?
Right. Jaguar, he was with Johnny Herbert, I remember that.
F1 Speed, we've lost connection to Speed. He's been watching all this time. I'm guessing he's been making highlights for the YouTube show. Well, he's got plenty of highlights to choose from, I'm sure. That's the spirit of the Blitz for you right there. He was taken out ages ago. And I sat here watching with us as Pied Piper goes wide at Pouon. So that gives a potential chance to BIT Captain Waiter, who's got slightly better traction. No, Smitty, I'm not giving you any clues.
That's cheating. Is it? Right.
So going through Stavelot, BHA Captain Waiter into Curve Paul Ferrari, trying to get closer to the back of that Williams, but you can see that Pied Piper's just got the comfortable gap, and ahead of him, Jordan's got that same gap. We're in that lull where the drivers just aren't quite close enough to attack each other, and yet they're all close enough that 1 mistake will totally change the order. I think this is the longest one of my questions has gone unanswered. I'm surprised.
It's not Alexander Wirtz, is it? When he covered?
Nope.
No. Was it an actual F1 driver who's been racing? Like, not someone who's like just filled in like as a reserve driver. Just
no. It's someone who's actually been doing seasons as well.
It's not Fernando Alonso, is it?
Nope.
No.
That's what they didn't race together at Minardi.
Oh, was it a year difference actually?
That's right.
Yeah, it was a year's difference.
So Pied Piper getting close to the back, going through Bruxelles, getting closer and closer to Jordan. 2 laps to go though, so still time, and that might change there because Jordan might be starting to struggle here because that gap has really come down all of a sudden.
Yeah, Jordan did pit a lap earlier than the rest of them, so his tyres are probably not in as good a condition, although I wouldn't expect it to be too much of a difference.
Is the track getting towards Inters, do you think? Because they're seeing a lot more break up in the water all of a sudden.
No, the rain's far too heavy. I mean, the guys can quite simply run these wet tyres to the end just by going in the puddles, but the rain is a little bit lighter, yes. It's more light rain now than it was to begin with, but I wouldn't risk going on to intermediate tyres at this time.
We're so close now, it's better to the discretion being a better part of valour and just pick up what points you can.
Indeed, yeah.
There's a yellow flag in sector 2, but I'm not sure who that is.
Oh, it's the Williams of Sick Harry who's gone off actually, and he's just been overtaken by Tucker Harley for P6.
Did I hear you say you give up?
Yes, I did.
Okay, the answer, and it's related to tonight's football, is Antonio Pizzonia. They raced together at Jaguar and Williams.
Funny.
The boy from the jungle, as he was known. So Pied Piper, getting closer to Jordan. It's probably actually no, Jordan's trying to kind of open this gap out a bit here. As a head through Eau Rouge. Going back to your suggestion of Alex Burt, I don't believe that they raced together when he was in Williams. I think Webber had moved on by that point.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't quite sure. I just thought it was perhaps a bit of a more of an educated guess rather than.
It was a good one. How many championships has Senna won? Well, if it's Bruno Senna, the answer is 0. If it's out, it's 3.
3. Next question.
I didn't think it'd be that easy. Oh yeah. Well, live and learn. Going out of Rivage, you can see that Pied Piper not really getting close enough to Jordan, so it looks like Pied Piper's settling for 3rd place here, trying not to take too many risks and take the points. Who can blame it? It's been a long race, it's been a hard race, been a lot of overtaking, and while it's going to render in a slightly damp fashion, literally, and the fact that we're not really having much action due to the rain, one thing we did have throughout the rest of the race was some unbelievably breathtaking driving with constant battles lap after lap. Really sensational stuff.
Yeah, the F4 guys are putting a great show here, living up to what the rest of the week has been like. And, well, who knows? Let's see what the F5 and T6 guys can do tomorrow. And I wonder how the GP3 race is going itself, actually.
By the way, here's a rhetorical question. There's no answer to this, apart from what you all think. What on earth were the trophies at Austria about? Again, there's no real answer to that. Just give us your opinion. Personally, I think someone was far too drunk.
Yeah, it looks like perhaps they got a 5-year-old to do it, maybe, just to do a few scribbles.
Well, apparently it was meant to be a replica of the brake system. Why on earth would you want that on your mantelpiece?
Oh, yeah,
I just won an endurance race and I've got a replica of a brake on my mantelpiece.
Yeah, that's exactly
Thanks.
what I wanted.
Meanwhile, as Cassie's just gone through Lake Coombe and has lapped the back marker in the McLaren, really not been in the league of these guys, but has shown the real spirit of Craig 102 by hanging on and getting the points, and that's all that matters. Pied Piper, meanwhile, going through Lake Coombe, he's not giving up on Jordan. He's going to keep trying to get close as he can, but I think Jordan's just done enough to take out 2nd place here in this final lap. Of course, coverage brought to you tonight by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. The only thing I do want to say is Dan Fisk, aka XRL Bernie, has announced that he will be retiring from running the league so he can enjoy his dotage like me, being one of the many other retired people. All the announcements will be coming soon about how the organisation is going to change, if any, in terms of like driver heads, stewards and the works. Keep your eyes peeled to the forum, exciteracingleague.com, for more information about that as and when it becomes available. And of course, you'll still be able to hear from Bernie. He'll be with me on the F1 Division next week, bringing you coverage of Monza, and he'll also be online tomorrow night covering F5000 round here at Spa Francorchamps. Watch and show your support. Then we go off curb of Palfreiras. Carson's going to go over the line to take victory, and Jordan meanwhile heads towards Blanchimont. He's under pressure from Pied Piper, but Pied Piper's a bit too far behind unless Jordan makes an error at the final bus-stop chicane. These guys are going to make sure they don't drop it now. It'll be the worst possible time. Oh, big wide run from Pied Piper, but he's going to hang on, and that's going to be a monumental 3rd place. A great job by Jordan to give him Mercedes 1-2. Meanwhile, John Digweed's going to collect 5th place as BHA Captain Waiter is going to come in 4th. Great drive from John Digweed in the Ferrari. And then we've got Tucker Harley in the Red Bull. He's very far behind these guys, only just coming through campus. He's in 6th place. Then down in 7th, we've got Sick Harry, who's not too far behind him. And at the back of the order, well, lapped and already finished out the points, we have the McLaren of Crazy Fish. So, these guys have really bought a click tonight. It's been great to see these guys. And let's see what they've all got to say when they come into the box, like these guys on the podium.
Yeah, I've already got them in 5 fish.
So, Casson, we'll go over to you firstly. I mean, a race where you were stuck in an absolute dogfight with the Pied Piper for like 80% of the Grand Prix, and then once the rain came down, it seemed that you got the best position in terms of getting into the pits, and that enabled you to be able to actually get through and take the victory. Was it as easy as it seemed when the rain came down, or are you just glad to have made the fly?
Well, I don't really know. Because I honestly don't know. It was quite an easy one at the end because Piper, I don't know what happened with Piper, but something did. I ended up with a 15-second lead inherited, so it was dead easy at the end. At the start, what happened at the start? Like, was it a sideward glitch that got me out?
No, you ran me wide and I got past you. Was it you who ran me wide?
It was me, but then I let you have it.
Oh, yeah.
No, because a Lotus sort of spun me. Like, I don't know.
Connor would have. Connor, like, they've not.
Well, anyways, Carson, I mean, obviously a big victory there in many ways. You had to fight hard for it. Moving on next week, we're going to be at the Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Do you reckon you got a chance of following it up and taking another victory there?
Yes, I do. As long as I get a good quality, I should end up good.
Okay, well, fantastic. Thank you very much for your comments. We'll move on to you then, Pied Piper. Again, more of the same. It seemed that initially you were in an absolute dogfight with the Carson for the victory. You both seem to be taking over each other lap after lap and putting on an absolute clinic. Now, obviously, a race that was undone a bit by the pits going into the rain. Were you a bit cursing when you glanced the wall going into the pit lane?
What happened is, earlier on when I was battling with Alan, I got my lag spike. I'd pulled about a second over him, so I pretty much had the place, but then I got the lag spike and it dropped me back behind him, so I lost all that time that I'd pulled away, which meant that I had to battle with him all the way. And when coming into the pits, I locked up, coming into the final chicane, lost that time, had to dive it into the pits desperately because of the weather, hit the wall, lost another 2 seconds and dropped like 15 seconds or something. And then because I'd been running a dry setup, I just couldn't keep it with the others and had to hope that Jordan had tyre problems, so yeah.
Well, it's still a great performance for you to be able to come home and take second place. Of course, that's still under review because one of it's part of a penalty. Because we're going over to you now. Jordan, it looked like you all had quite a clean going race, but you still had like 2 penalties, it would seem, because of the in-game.
But no, none of them were my fault. The first one on where I was going on the outside, I tapped him, went off the track, got a penalty for that one. And the second one was because Victory went off the track and me, Gravedigger and Waiter all got penalties because of it. Apparent illegal overtake. I don't think neither of them were my fault. At the end of the safety car, yeah.
Well, I mean, all these things will be reviewed after the race, so obviously the results are still provisional. But going back to the race, I mean, you still had a big battle with BHA Captain Waiter. You, like Skazin and Pied Piper, seem to be pretty much in a dogfight where for like 20-25 laps, you were constantly like slipstreaming each other, going around the outside and inside of Blanchimont. It seemed a race where you were just literally hanging out like it was touring cars. Is that what you expected when you came here tonight?
No, I didn't expect it, like... No, I didn't really expect any of this. Like, it was the best race I've ever raced, and it was just everything happened that I hoped had happened, and it was just a really good race. And yeah, like, it was just that.
Okay, well, fantastic, and congratulations to you. So, all guys who watched tonight, thank you all to you guys as well. Tomorrow night, of course, you've got the F5000 and Tier 6 double header. That will be brought to you by Dan Fisk and also by F1 Speed. Those two will be in the box from 8 PM on channels 1 and 2. You should be able to watch that on multi-Twitch as well if you want to. Also, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time, actually. We've got a week off because Monza is next, and that's going to be clashing with the World Cup final. So, for all you guys who want to sit and watch the soccer, enjoy it on Sunday evening. We'll be back in a couple of weeks covering Monza for you. In the meantime, coverage will see tonight by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. I'm in Pete Markov, joined by XRL F4